traffic and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, a new wildfire burning in Millard County got a lot bigger overnight and is still out of control. The Wild Horse Fire, which is burning northeast of Delta, has already burned around 1,000 acres and is still 0% contained. Fire crews say strong winds made things difficult yesterday, but today they're hoping to gain some level of containment with more resources and better weather. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. A fire in Wayne County is under investigation. The Grover burned about 11 acres yesterday in Torrey, and it's believed to be human-caused. Utah Fire Info said it was fueled by dry vegetation. No structures were reported as destroyed, along with no injuries. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Xi Jinping is providing the U.S. with a new warning as President Trump visits.
In their over 2-hour meeting, Xi delivering a stark warning to Trump about Taiwan, which Beijing claims is its own territory. According to China's state media, Xi telling Trump if the issue is handled poorly, the two countries will collide or even clash. Trump tight-lipped.
How are your talks, sir?
It's great.
Did you talk about Taiwan?
Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Trump hoped to use their sit-down to seal deals on trade and technology, bringing along with him over a dozen American business leaders.
ABC's chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 383 points. We're currently back over 50,000 at 50,073. Coming up, we've got cooler temperatures and sunshine today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
You're hearing it every day. Another political ad. Another agenda. There's a lot of people telling you how your world is going to change. But no matter what happens this election, or the next election, or the next, you still have the power to control your future. Elections can impact a lot of things, like the stock market, inflation, and taxes. And if you're thinking about retiring soon, now is a great time to meet with Mike Stevens at Capital Wealth. Mike can't tell you who's going to win, but he will show you how your savings might be affected and what you can do now to help prepare. Schedule your election stress test with Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth today. Call or text ELECTION to 801-210-5500. Don't let this election, or any election, control your retirement future. Set up your election stress test with Mike Stevens now. Call or text ELECTION to 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
If you're in the process of making your Memorial Day plans, it's time to make the plans to drop by one of the 4 NPS stores. Hi, this is Doug Wright, and they have got it all. If you're looking, of course, for the food, for the picnic at Memorial Day, they have got it at 20 to 70% off on everything. And of course, things for the lawn and for the garden, plants, they have got that as well. And fun things to make your Memorial Day weekend complete, including things for the kids to play with, the pool toys, and so much more. And don't miss the exceptional prices now each and every day, 20 to 70% off retail at NPS. Then the flash sales are an additional percentage off on top of that. Look for the weekly flash sales. You'll be amazed at what you'll find. You'll be amazed at the prices and the great people who will help you out at NPS in Layton, Orem, and the 2 Salt Lake stores on Empire.
We've got emergency traffic brought to you by UCCU. Earned 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
Now, the crash we had on southbound I-15 in Farmington is out of traffic in that right shoulder behind construction cones, so delays are quickly working their way out, but it is still stop and go traffic on southbound I-15 through Layton. And once you get out of there, it's just a little bit of scattered delays, residual from multiple crashes we had this morning on South 15 from Kaysville all the way down to Warm Springs Road in Salt Lake. And on southbound I-15 in Utah County, heavy delays in American Fork at Pioneer Crossing all the way down toward Pleasant Grove Boulevard, where there is still a crash near 1600 North, just out of traffic and in that right shoulder as well. Thirsty for better water? Culligan has you covered. From softeners and filtration to bottle-free coolers and bottled water delivery. Trusted local experts make water taste amazing. Visit CulliganSLC.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny and cooler today with highs in the low 70s. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer. Temperatures will dip this weekend, though, falling to the 50s on Sunday and Monday with a chance of rain. Right now, it's 55 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, when it comes to data centers, most Americans seem to have what we call NIMBYism, not in my backyard when it comes to data center expansions. We've already talked a lot about the development, the proposed development in Box Elder County, but it's not just there, it's actually a nationwide issue, Holly.
Yeah, it has a lot of people questioning, even on our own Facebook page, why political leaders are pushing so hard for these centers when the general public is really opposed to them. And I saw this poll yesterday. It is actually a Gallup poll. There's multiple news organizations that have written about it. But what they found was 71% of Americans are opposed to data centers in their backyard. And you can say data or data, it doesn't matter. But of the people who are opposed, 48%. Okay, so actually total overall, the 48% are strongly opposed. And of the people who support, only 7% are strongly supportive. So you see this just really strong opposition to data centers across the country.
70% oppose or strongly opposed, or 70%. That's it. What was surprising to me, it's more opposition than a nuclear power plant in your neighborhood.
So only 53% are opposed to nuclear energy plants in their neighborhood or in their local community. So it's almost a 20-point spread, right? More people would rather live close to a nuclear energy plant than they would to a data center.
Yeah, and it's a phenomena. It's a national phenomena. It's not just something here in Utah. Although I think the political leaders, the community or the civic leaders think of it as a boon financially because they do bring money into the community.
Sure, and there are arguments for why we need these data centers. I was interested to see how many data centers we have in Utah. We have 48 already in the state of Utah. We have multiple either underway or proposed. So if you remember down in Millard County, there's the Jewel project, and it's I think not the only one down there, but they had neighbors who are like, I don't want this here, but there's nothing I can do about it. But there's also the Eagle Mountain one. And I mean, we have them all over. And nationally, it's something like 3,000 data centers, but that number is going to grow for sure.
I think what caught everybody's attention with the Box Elder County one was the size of it. I mean,
it's big.
It's huge. And I mean, we talk about the 40,000 acres, which made little sense because the building's, a tiny, tiny percentage of that. But why they needed such a tract of land didn't make sense to a lot of people, why it was in that particular area. I mean, I don't know why the community leaders, the county commissioners misjudged this so much because they're good people and they know what they're doing. But, man, the public came out crazy against it.
So we put this poll out on Instagram. And we had asked for comments on our Facebook page, and this is KSL News Radio. I looked at Instagram, 86% oppose. They say no data center. the question on our Facebook post, a lot of opinions surround the data center in Box Elder County, but across the nation, do you support the overall idea that the U.S. needs more? Well, we have over 200 comments in an hour.
Mostly negative.
Here's the interesting thing. I would say it is split. There are people who say yes. However, I think I see the strongly opinionated no's a lot more than any strong opinionated yeses. I'm going to read you a few if that's okay.
Yeah.
So one says, no, we don't need them, period. One says, of course, anybody who's using Facebook and thinks we don't need to continue to build data centers doesn't understand how the internet works. That's my friend Michael Jolly, by the way. One says, put them in the middle of the Antarctic and use solar power and windmills to power them. That might melt the polar ice cap. So I don't know about that one. But there's several who say yes, but put them where the needed resources are more readily available. So if you need a lot of water, put them near the Great Lakes, for example. Or I saw one that said put them in by Niagara Falls, right, where there's a lot of water there. Right. And we've heard commentary about this data center in Box Elder County that it could use a cooling technology to recirculate water, and that maybe the water didn't have to be desalinated. Well, what about putting them by the ocean?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because it doesn't have to be drinking water or something like that.
Right. Exactly. So again, 200 comments, right? And people are like, yes, but even the ones who are yes, and there's so many that are like, no. And there is a text. We have a texter. Who says this? He says, it's no longer NIMBY, it's banana. Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anyone. Right? And I know that if you're a proponent of these data centers, then you probably are wondering why there's so much backlash, right? But there is, and it's not isolated to Utah or Box Elder County.
You know, another stat that they came out with here in this poll was how it differed with respect to Republicans, Democrats, and independents. And we're talking about strongly opposed, not just opposed, because strongly opposed was a slightly lower number, obviously. 56% of Democrats strongly oppose a data center in their community. 39% of Republicans and half of the independents were strongly opposed. Now, overall, 70% of Americans are opposed, but about 48% strongly. So I guess I don't understand that stat, why it would make any difference whether you're Democrat or Republican, except just I guess that Republicans feel like maybe they're more part of the equation or something.
Well, so here's a national security component to it, right? And we see this as well reflected in our comments. But I do want to read this one. That this is Jenny on Facebook, and she says it doesn't matter what the people want, not even a little bit. They're building everywhere and fast, not just Utah, nationwide. Something's up, she says. So I'll say that I saw a number of comments like this, like it doesn't matter what we think. And that's what we see reflected also in some of our polling, right, is that people feel like politicians don't listen to them. And I'm referring to a Utah Foundation poll from 2024 as the top issue for Utah voters is feeling like elected officials don't listen. So there's a lot. Trent on Facebook says, of course they're needed, but why do they need to be built in the desert where water's limited? Okay,
right,
again.
That's more water issues,
yeah,
right?
Jonathan says, I'd rather keep data locally and have decided to put my phone down for most of the day, and Facebook's now a rare thing. And then Liz says, leadership has done a bad job of explaining the necessity of these facilities for security purposes. Meaning like national security. AI is not just fake art or writing an essay. It can hack accounts. It can secure servers. And a number of our commenters mentioned China, right? We've got to keep up with China. We've got to win the race with China. And I'll say there's already a number of articles that's like, we're already losing the AI race to China.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk later about Trump's visit to China, I think, on our show. But when we come back after this break, we want to talk more about your thoughts about data centers, that's for sure. Data. You say potato, I say potato.
That's right.
Coming up next on Inside Sources, we're going to keep the conversation going and focus on Utah and the future of our data centers here.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, We're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Hey, Utah! Ready to bring the hot tub and swim spa life home? The Utah Hot Tub and Swim Expo is coming to the west parking lot of the Shops at Southtown, right next to I-15. May 8th through May 16th, Utah's biggest hot tub brands are going head-to-head. Bullfrog Spas versus Arctic Spas, competing hard to end up in your backyard. See and test dozens of Utah's best hot tubs and swim spas on display. Save thousands with massive expo-only discounts. Plus, enjoy local service and fast delivery. No out-of-state hassle. Whether you want relaxing hydrotherapy after a long day or a full workout swim spa in your backyard, this is your chance to upgrade for less. Don't miss it. Free to attend. Head to the west parking lot of the Shops at Southtown, May 8th through May 16th. Call or visit GoHotTubbing.com for details and hours. GoHotTubbing.com, Utah's Hot Tub and Swim Spa Expo, where the best brands battle for your backyard bliss.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
Are you okay?
Okay. Gas is up. Groceries are up. Everything up, up, up.
Not at Strong Volkswagen.
Strong Volkswagen.
Yeah, purchase any vehicle with a dime. One dime down.
What is the deal with dimes?
One dime down. Plus, oil changes at just $59.95 at Strong Volkswagen.
Just $59.95?
Or lease a new 2026 Jetta S. Just $235 a month. $235.
Fun fact, new Jetta get up to 42 mpg.
Even new all-wheel drive Atlas. Just $432 a month. $432.
And you get a lifetime warranty. Lifetime. But my own mother won't loan me money.
You're not getting the money! It's okay. If you got a job and a dime, you ride, mister.
This is great. I'm back, baby, during Volkswagen Driver Days.
At Strong Volkswagen. For over 70 years, Strong Volkswagen.
Located downtown.
StrongVW.com.
StrongVW.com.
For details, call 801-596-2200. My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. AnyHourServices.com.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
the ridgeline is imposing the escarpments, the drops.
where survival,
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion, and that of the sheriff, is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, it's been arguably one of the biggest things in the Utah news cycle over the last few weeks. And, of course, we're talking about the proposed data center in Box Elder County. We've talked a lot about it already, but there's really a lot more to cover this morning.
There is, and we're going to talk about concerns over water for the center up in Box Elder County, but I also wanted to read some more comments that we've had both on Facebook and from our texters. So we have a few. One texter said that O'Leary, who is behind this, right, lost a lot of credibility by saying protesters were contracted by China. And then another texter says no data center yet has kept promises about resource consumption or conservation, so why would we trust Kevin O'Leary? Another one says we can't build data centers near big bodies of water because that's also heavily populated areas. Another one says they want to come to Utah because energy is cheap here. And there are over 5,000, I said 3,000, there are over 5,000 data centers in the United States, and they're concentrated basically in three states. Virginia is one, Texas is one, Utah is not one, California is the other one. So one of the things that I've seen is that elected officials are saying this is one way to get jobs into rural areas, right?
Sure.
So
2,000, perhaps.
Yeah, up in Box Elder County,
Right,
but we
right,
also
right.
have a data center down in Millard County, and that these can bring permanent, stable jobs, and that it can be even what one legislator called the golden ticket for jobs in rural Utah. But we still have these ongoing environmental concerns, especially about water. So last night, KSL's Erin Cox attended a local forum where they were talking about water, and she's got some more information on what happened last night.
A lawyer, ecologist, and director for Utah Clean Energy presented what they know about the Stratos Data Center during the forum at the Salt Lake City Public Library. But one woman spoke from the heart about her hometown.
I'm afraid we're going to lose it.
Brenna Williams opposes the data center approved for her Box Elder County neighborhood, along with Rhonda Anderson Lauritsen.
I was home on the couch crying.
Both women are working together on a citizen referendum and water rights protest. Rhonda's water rights border the Great Salt Lake and property for the data center. Her family has been there since the 1960s, and they've watched the lake shrink.
We haven't been able to access the water for 10 years. So I don't know where they think they're going to get the water from. There is no water out there.
And we need to decrease our water use by 40% to achieve our goal of restoring Great Salt Lake. And so every new chunk of water that we use makes that more difficult.
Ben Abbott with Grow the Flow says they're trying to reduce irrigation water use to restore the Great Salt Lake before bringing in a data center.
Here we've got a hard limit of how much water is sustainably available. And by the way, because of large-scale environmental change, that's a shifting baseline.
Now, Ben says there is a sustainable way to have both the data center and to have healthy water use. He says we're already doing that across the Beehive State in multiple data centers. Overall, the consensus of the meeting was that there has been so little information provided about plans and their potential impact.
I would say so little information and some somewhat misleading information. I don't know.
At least confusing.
Yeah, confusing information. So when O'Leary, who's the developer, says that some of these protesters are from China,
right?
And we interviewed a woman that he specifically targeted yesterday, right. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And that they're being paid and they're being bussed in from other states. There's no proof of that they're non-Utahns, and so when you start losing that credibility, and then you get into the issue of, well, it really doesn't take that much water, you can understand why some citizens are reluctant to take his word on that as well.
You know who actually is from out of state? Kevin O'Leary. He's Canadian.
Right.
He's not even a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Okay, so one of the things too. So I was looking up, why do people like data centers? And I found an article from MIT. It's MIT Technology Review, and this is their headline. And this is from January, so way before even the legislative session. Data centers are amazing. Everyone hates them.
They have one thing in common.
So they start this way. Behold, the hyperscale data center, massive structures with thousands of specialized computer chips running in parallel to perform the complex calculations required by advanced AI models. And then talking about how many millions of square feet and how many millions of pounds of steel, aluminum, and concrete and miles of wiring. But you would think, basically what they're saying is, you would think like we need to have this. They're propping up the U.S. economy and the stock market, but people are, they just hate them.
So what I don't understand is this. If we've got, 5,000 of them in the United States?
Yeah, closer to 5,400 now.
How is it that we haven't talked about those, but we're talking about this behemoth one in Box Elder County? You know what I mean? People do. Obviously, people have talked about it.
Yep.
I guess we just have it on this show. I didn't realize that we had all these centers in place.
We have talked about it. We've talked about it in the fall. We talked with Millard County Commissioner about the big project down there. We've talked about the Eagle Mountain one several times. But this MIT article, remember, this is January. People hate them in Virginia. They hate them in Nevada. They hate them in Michigan and Arizona and South Dakota. They hate them all around the world, but they really hate them in Georgia, they said. It's a conversation about, I think part of the conversation, and here's where I don't have any answers. What's the balance between progress and technology, and we need to move forward. We need this type of infrastructure. We've mentioned a little bit about security, national security, and military. What's the balance between that and people saying, we are terrified about the environmental impact? There is history there. People do know that there's noise that comes from these things. It impacts the environment. It does raise the heat index, right? And in fact, at least one of our commenters on Facebook ran it through an AI model and said, what are the advantages and disadvantages? And they listed out, here's environmental impact. They use a lot of water. They raise the heat. They make noise, right? They impinge on the neighbors. It's like, oh, well, even AI is like, well, they're not always the greatest.
And you're always concerned the way technology moves forward, that if we put in millions of dollars into this big center, for example, the one we're talking about in Box Elder County, there's a proposed one in Iron County as well that we've talked about, that they're not going to be here in 20 years.
That's a concern for sure.
It's not like
it becomes obsolete.
Right. It's not like the Delta Center that you can build it and you can use it for years to come. You're going to spend $1 billion. It's something that will be an eyesore maybe in 10 years. It'll probably take 5 just to build it. But the way things are going and the way technology is moving forward, I mean, they're necessary, and I understand that. I think whoever decided to put them under MIDA, Military Installation Development Authority, was smart, because now you're thinking national security. It's the military. Boy, we really need this.
Well, certainly I think there's an argument to be made for that, because you have things like drones. In fact, I see now every day, I'm seeing a news story about how drones are being used in warfare, both in Iran, but largely in Ukraine and Russia, right? They're doing a lot with drones right now. So that needs to be powered. We're talking about the Winter Olympics coming here in 2034 and how we want to have air taxis by then. Well, that takes a lot of tech.
Right.
For that to be up and functional. But as far as data security, national security, that's something that people are saying, look, we've got this and we need to talk about it, because we need this to keep our nation secure.
You wonder if, speaking of our nation, if this is a global phenomenon. You don't hear about other countries. I mean, China must have some pretty massive data centers, given what they're doing there. They must, but they just, nobody cares, or they just go along with whatever the government wants there?
Well, I don't know that you can actually protest in China, but worldwide, I mean, certainly there have been protests in other places. I'll say some, too, about energy. We've got nuclear. One of the things up in Box Elder County is there's a nuclear energy plant that's being pushed there. People have a lot less heartburn about that. And if you look across Europe, there's a lot of nuclear power behind the energy infrastructure in Europe, right? So we know that technology is safe. Maybe part of it is just this is unproven and we don't know, or that what we do know shows that there are some real reasons to be concerned.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting. I'm glad we've had a conversation pretty
We're
regularly.
going to continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
You
Yep,
know that we will.
will.
Yep.
After this break, we're going to...
Ms. Richens, based on your conviction on count 1, first-degree felony aggravated murder, the court hereby sentences you to life without parole.
We'll talk about that after this.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour: as the Kevin O'Leary-backed data center continues to hit road bumps, an energy project planned for Box Elder County is moving forward. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Brigham City is trying to go nuclear. Last year, companies High-Tech Solutions and Holtec International announced plans for 4 to 10 small modular nuclear reactors to be built around the city, forming what they call a nuclear energy ecosystem. It has not received the major public backlash the data center has. Some people speculate it's because they just don't know about it. High-Tech tells KSL they are having conversations about the land components involved in the project, and no final decisions have been made. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Thousands of Utahns have shown opposition to the Stratos data center project. Now local experts are weighing in, saying the opposition is helping. U of U environmental and property law professor Brigham Daniels told the audience at a public forum last night that the referendum is their best avenue for change. BYU professor of environmental science Ben Abbott says people's efforts have made leaders like Governor Cox and Mita start to ask more questions. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries are on the same wavelength right now, supporting an effort aimed at combating sexual misconduct on Capitol Hill.
There are also still active House ethics investigations into a number of members, including Republican Chuck Edwards of North Carolina. Axios reports the investigation is connected in part to his alleged treatment of female staff, including allegations of unwanted attention, gifts, and written letters. Edwards has denied any wrongdoing and said the allegations are politically motivated.
ABC's Jay O'Brien reporting. Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 386 points. We're at 50,079. That's about 0.75%. Coming up, we'll get a look at the weather forecast. Cooler today, but sunshine. That's next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry is the jewelry we never wear. It sits tucked away in a drawer. A ring from a grandmother, a pendant from years gone by. Pieces filled with stories, but not part of your everyday life. Duke's Jewelers believes those pieces deserve more. For over 75 years, Duke's Jewelers has helped families reimagine heirloom jewelry, transforming what once was into something you'll love wearing today and pass down tomorrow. Whether it's resetting a stone, redesigning a ring, or creating something entirely new, Duke's Jewelers will guide you through every step, right there in the store. And if you have jewelry that no longer fits your story, Duke's Jewelers also buys gold, offering a simple, transparent way to turn it into something meaningful again. Bring in what you have and create something you'll never want to take off. Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville, where your story continues.
Join us at Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, our biggest trade event of the year, May 14th through the 17th. Trade in your RV and get the highest value guaranteed. Then upgrade for less with new RVs starting as low as $94 a month. Plus, take 25% off select maintenance services. Save up to 40% on camp-ready must-haves. And enter to win a new RV. Don't miss the Red, White, and New Trade event at your local Camping World, May 14th through the 17th. We'll see you there.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials like James Hardie siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriorsutah.com. That's rgsexteriorsutah.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. And back to you, Cormac.
Our trouble is still in Davis County. We do have a crash on southbound I-15 near 200 North in Kaysville. They're out of traffic and in that right shoulder, so there aren't any delays by them. Where it is slow is from just after the Park Lane interchange on southbound I-15 all the way down into Centerville. And then you get a little bit of a breakthrough most of Bountiful, where it's slow again from Woods Cross near 2600 South all the way down into Salt Lake near 600 South, or 600 North, that is. We also have heavy traffic on southbound Legacy Highway right where the West Davis corridor merges. Otherwise, roadways looking pretty good. No delays on I-15 through Utah and Salt Lake counties. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, endless possibilities with 3 locations: Performance Ford, Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, where excellence is standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny and cooler today with a high around 73, 77 tomorrow, 75 Saturday, then rain and a high of only 58 on Sunday. Right now it's 61 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, 4 years after the death of her husband, Corey Richards was sentenced yesterday for the killing of Eric, and it was kind of poetic justice, but yesterday was, by coincidence, his 44th birthday.
So I know on our show yesterday we were able to dip into some statements by Eric's sister, Katie. And then after our show, there was a live stream of the actual sentencing. And I know that you were on Brightside to talk about it.
Yeah, and this is what the judge said just in the last minute or so before and he was speaking directly to Corey.
Corey Richards was convicted unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt of attempting to murder Eric Richards, her husband, and the father of their 3 children. And then, having failed in her first effort of spending the next 17 days, not changing course, but doubling down, preparing to try again, and ultimately completing the act through the administration of poison. And for what? Money. All for pecuniary gain. A person convicted of committing that sequence of acts in that way and for that reason, and who causes the absolute tragedy that has befallen Eric Richards' sons and family. A person convicted of those things is simply too dangerous to ever be free. Accordingly, Ms. Richards, based on your conviction on count 1, first-degree felony aggravated murder, the court hereby sentences you to life without parole.
And the judge had the choice yesterday, Holly, of issuing a sentence for that particular count. Now, she was convicted of 5 counts. We'll break them down a little bit. But that particular count carried with it the opportunity for the judge to enter a sentence of either 25 years to life or life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Right.
It was an aggravated murder, but the state chose not to pursue the death penalty, and they chose that right out of the gate, very early on.
So one of the things for me, so I had to listen. And I understand the appeal of true crime because I was pretty riveted by her testimony. I have some pretty strong feelings about how she came across, but I was really interested in how this all unfolded at the end. And the judge, he did clarify this 25 to life versus life without parole. And he talked about, first of all, he weighed in on those other 4 charges and said that they were going to run consecutively. So as soon as he said that, because I've been with you for almost a year, it was like, oh, this is going to be life without parole.
Yeah. Well, I almost thought the opposite.
Interesting.
Because I thought, well, he's giving her as much as he can so that he can give her the 25 to life, and he's got all these consecutives. But so he did the math too. I don't know if we have the sound of this, and it doesn't matter. But he said, look, and he started. So she was convicted of 5 counts. He started with count 5 and worked backwards because obviously number 1 was the big ticket. He said, on count 5, I'm going to send you to 0 to 5 years in prison, and then on count 4, I'm going to send you to 1 to 15 years in prison, consecutive to count 5. And then he's issuing this prison sentence that is commensurate with each count. Count 2 was important too, and for reasons that he just said. That was the attempted murder that he just said was 17 days earlier. That one carried 5 to life, and he ran 5 to life. And so then we're thinking, what's he going to do with count 1? And then he did the math.
Yeah.
He said,
she will not be out for at least 30 years.
Yeah, if I give you life in prison with the possibility of parole, doing the calculation, you will serve at least 30 years. And she's, I don't know, 37 or something. I forget what the age was. And I thought, that's a pretty good sentence. And I think the Board of Pardons would probably keep her longer than that. I don't know that she would realistically ever get out. But then he got to the one, and you predicted it right. I kind of didn't know, and I think a lot of us were sort of hanging by a thread. But you know what I think changed the dynamic for the judge? This the letter from the boys. Do
you think it changed, or do you think that he already had? I mean, he clearly that decision-making process happened before he entered the courtroom, and I know that letters were submitted earlier so that he had a chance to read them. But do you think he was actually leaning a different direction?
I shouldn't say change the dynamic. I think that it sealed the deal. I mean, if there was any doubt in his mind as to what the right thing to do was, the boys had sent letters, and I was shocked when I saw these. I literally was, because the kids, and again, full disclosure, I have been the spokesperson for the Eric Richins family.
Right.
And the boys had been absolutely silent. We hadn't heard one word from them, which I thought was going to be consistent throughout. And suddenly we received some letters, and they were read during the sentencing. And the boys unanimously, and there were 3 of them, and they're only like 10, 11, and 13 or something. They're very young. Were afraid of her, and thought you could tell from their letters, we don't want her out.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, but even if she does 25 to life, she's going to be they'll be in their 30s or 40s when she gets out. It's like you're not afraid of her anymore. But the judge said that they shouldn't ever have any fear of seeing her, ever have any fear of having to deal with her. And if you recall, when she spoke, her entire statement was almost like talking to the boys. You know, she was addressing them.
Yeah, it was, and maybe we can play sound in our next segment. But because I wanted to talk about her demeanor when Katie, Eric's sister Katie, was speaking, because she's the one who ended up with custody of the boys. But it was, I thought it was shocking to watch on camera her facial expressions and her body language while Katie was speaking. She looked malevolent. She was angry. She was laughing, like she was mocking. She was leaning around trying to get Katie's eye so that she could glare at her. She was doing the death stare, that people do. And it was like, oh my gosh, like that's not helping your case at all. And again, I think the decision had already been made, but I was really shocked that she would have so much nonverbal expression going on.
Somebody was genius in setting up that camera angle too, because you had the person standing at the podium speaking, and right over their shoulder is Corey Richards. In fact, she's leaning forward like you just described, almost trying to get their attention and making these. Even when they're talking about her boys, even they're talking about things that you would think would have just torn her up, she's just showing this anger and glare that did not help her at all. I was thinking to her attorneys, like, button her up a little bit.
Corey is really, really mad that Katie got custody and of the boys. She's really angry, and that really showed up in her testimony, in her not testimony, but her statement. So we're going to focus more on the statements from the sons of Corey and Eric Richards when we come back after this break.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Several months ago, I made the decision to try to lose some weight, and it was something that I had never had to do before. In fact, I used to wrestle in high school, and I could get my weight down to anything I wanted. But after I turned 60, I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't get my weight to where I needed it to be. So I contacted SOTA, S-O-T-A Diet Nutrition, at the suggestion of some of the folks here at KSL Radio, and because they said it worked. And I thought, I want to do something that I'm not ready to start taking pills or injections. I want to do something just based on diet. So they hooked me up. I have a coach. I have a nutritionist. I have a different food schedule that I've used before, although my wife has been on board and she's helped me with that. And I've been watching the pounds come off. And in fact, I had my 5-week checkup yesterday, and I was happy to find that I had lost 22 pounds in 35 days. Not quite where I need to be, but well ahead of the schedule that I expected. I thought 2 pounds a week. Instead, I've done much more than that. SOTA weight loss at sotadietandnutrition.com. SOTA, join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-917-5151. 800-917-5151. 800-917-5151.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
An expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Let's keep talking about the Corey Richins sentencing yesterday.
Yeah, one thing I was looking forward to was whether or not she was going to speak, because if you recall, Holly, she never addressed the court, never addressed the jury, never said a word during the trial. We never heard from her. Well, we did yesterday.
I can beat myself up all day about how I could have been a better person or made better personal choices. And I can understand and accept you boys being upset about those things. But murder? No, absolutely not. I will not accept that. And I will not be blamed for something I did not do. I will appeal and fight these charges no matter how long it takes. Not because I have anything to prove to this court, to the state, to the Richins family, or to the world. But I do have something to prove to you three. I do care what you boys think, and I need you boys to know the truth. And because of that, I will never quit or give up on this fight for justice, the truth, and coming home to you.
It was something like a 40-minute statement
was
that
long.
she gave. It was really long, but it was virtually all really sort of phrased in a letter to the boys.
Yeah, kind of. But I will say that her anger towards Katie came out during that. Her, like, I was, again, you have way more experience than I do in this, and I don't pay attention to true crime, but I was really shocked that she was so focused on, in my opinion, portraying herself as a victim, that she kept saying things like, your dad and I loved each other very much, and when you find love in your life, hold on to it and keep a hold on. Like, you killed your husband.
Yeah, right.
I don't want that to be an example of love, right? It just was really interesting to me. But yeah, she directed it towards the boys, kind of, but she used it to say her piece and attack the judiciary and the legal system and how it's all a sham. But we did have victim statements from the boys, and they paint a very different picture of their relationship.
I was 9 when my dad was murdered. What I would like to see happen if the perpetrator is convicted of the crime, I would like to see Corey get a life sentence. My thoughts regarding an appropriate sentence for the person who is accused of this crime and if they are found guilty. I think Corey should get a life sentence because what she did is very sick, because it had no reason to happen and it impacted a bunch of people, including me. These are some reasons why I think she should have a life sentence. The information I feel is important for the judge to be aware of in sentencing. I think the judge should know that my dad was a good person, and very thoughtful and kind, and helped whoever needed help. He was always taking the extra mile to help people. My physical injuries as a result of this crime are as follows. I was sleeping, and then I went to get a drink of water, then went back to bed. And when I woke up shaking and Bailey called the ambulance and they came and I couldn't talk for a while, I think Corey had something to do with it because she didn't call the ambulance. She called Bailey and Bailey called the ambulance. At the ER, Corey resisted to have my blood drawn, and kids who usually have this kind of seizure is when they are a few months old to a year old. I learned later that Corey bought more fentanyl and had it in the house when this happened. I think this is what happened. She did what she did to my dad in the living room. My experienced emotional injury because of this crime is described as follows. Sad. I feel mad that I have to feel sad. I went from being scared for my life to feeling really good. I was scared for my life because I didn't eat that much. Corey was always drunk or gone. I was always locked in my room. I can't remember, but I am pretty sure the lock was on the outside. Corey threatened she would kill my lizard because we didn't want to watch some weird show with her. All of our chickens died because there was no food or water. My rabbit died because we didn't have food or water. The goats almost starved to death because she bought moldy hay and she didn't water them. Nothing ever got fed or watered. It didn't feel good to worry about my animals. I felt like I had to take care of my siblings. Ash mostly took care of me, though, because I was locked in my room. Ash would bring me food. Corey would lock me up if I told her she was drunk. This happened pretty much daily. I feel angry that she locked me in my room. I am angry almost all my animals died. I am angry she threatened to kill them. I am angry she killed my dad. I started to feel really good when I moved into a safe place. It was safe because the people around me were safe, Katie and Clint. I felt safe at Jake and Shalina, I believe, because I wasn't with Corey anymore. Counseling. I feel annoyed that I have to go to counseling and tell the story about what happened 55 million times. I feel better now because I know it's to help me. I would like to not have to go to counseling. I would like to have to not worry about anything after this trial is over. I want the judge to know I hope Corey gets convicted to a life sentence. Corey is always drunk. I want the judge to know my dad was a good person and I miss my dad. I miss my dad, but I do not miss how my life used to be. I don't miss Corey. I will tell you that.
So that was a statement that was being read by an adult, but it's from the oldest son of Eric and Corey Richins.
It may be, it may have been from the youngest son, but it was one of the sons. It sounds like that. At any rate, it was being read by a victim advocate. So what really struck me about that is that he referred to her as Corey.
Yep.
Every time. I mean,
absolutely.
Who calls their mom by her first name?
Well, I think to me,
he never used the
that's
word
a
mom.
Clear indicator that he doesn't consider her mother anymore.
Right. And just some anger. And we learned a lot I learned a lot just listening to that because I hadn't heard it directly yesterday. We were running around, but that her intoxication and the way she treated
not enough
the
food
animals
he might have been drugged the night that his dad died, right?
Yeah.
He was like, something weird happened and she didn't want him to do a blood draw on me and I had a seizure. And
yeah. So, I mean, and there were 3 letters written. I wish we had time to play them all because when I saw those come in, I saw the letters filed. They were because I was
sure.
on the pleadings, but I saw what they call a victim impact statement, which was letters coming in pro and con. And I saw that the boys had written letters. I didn't read them because they're sealed, but I thought,
yeah,
I don't know what these are going to say. Are they going to say, "Mom, we forgive you, we love you, we want you"?
They did not.
Yeah, and they were universal. From what I've been able to determine, all 3 boys were of the one mindset that, hey, we're afraid of her. One of them even said, "I'm
afraid."
I think maybe it was the youngest one.
Yeah,
but they were fearful of her and pretty articulate. Sat down and wrote letters from the heart, and that had to be incredibly difficult for her, especially because that was toward the end of the state's case, and then she gets up, an hour later and addresses the 3 boys who have already addressed her.
Right.
I mean, whoa, the irony of that and just the juxtaposition of the.
Yeah, I mean, she flat out said they had been fed lies, that she had made mistakes and she would own up to that, but that murder was not one of them. Her mistake was that she fell in love with somebody who wasn't her dad, but the dad made mistakes too. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? So yes, I mean, maybe it was her one opportunity to publicly state to the boys, here's everything I want you to know from now through high school graduation, college graduation, marriage, becoming a parent, right? All of those things. But how often does it happen that somebody like this will speak for 40 minutes or however long it was?
Yeah, and then take shots at their dad, even though he's dead. Like, he did some bad things too. We both did some bad things, and you should know that. But at the end of the day, we still loved you. I have read different versions of people sort of describing what they thought of that, and it was not kind. I mean, the world wasn't listening to her and crying their eyes out. You know, it wasn't like people were listening to Corey and going, oh, well, she's
so sympathetic.
Yeah.
No, they were not doing that. One other thing that's interesting, and we've had a couple of texters point this out to us also, is her family. Her mom spoke in court and said that she was totally innocent. I think it was her brother maybe that spoke to reporters outside the courtroom and said she was innocent, that she had been railroaded. This was a miscarriage of justice. And I'm like, well, it was a quick and unanimous verdict that came back on that.
What bothered me about that is, I know we're running out of time, is they also took shots at the judge.
Oh,
the judge,
absolutely,
the judge
they did.
This was one of the best judges in the state. He was brilliant, and that was not going to help the sentencing. Well, in the next hour of Inside Sources, they say that free-range eggs are the best kind of eggs. Well, what about free-range children? Do they make the best kind of children? More on a congressional proposal to let kids roam free. Coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Alta High School in the Canyon School District canceled classes today, saying police are investigating a threat received over the Safe UT app. The school says the decision was made out of an abundance of caution. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, weekly unemployment claims are rising.
The number of people filing their first claims for state jobless benefits rose by 12,000 last week to 211,000 altogether. That's more than double what employment analysts were anticipating. The overall number of people receiving some kind of unemployment has slipped a little to 1.7 million.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. We told you earlier, former Utah Jazz center Greg Ostertag was running for mayor in the small town of Mount Vernon, Texas. And now we can tell you he won. Ostertag has lived in the town of only 2,500 people for the last 10 years, where he owns a restaurant, and he won the election by just 35 votes. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 482 points at this hour. We're at 50,175. Coming up, we're going to hang out in the 70s for the next few days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act a Day's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. In Brigham City, 13-year-old Tate Kiesler noticed families struggling during the government shutdown and decided to take action. With the support from his mom, Tana, Tate set up a table in their garage where neighbors could both donate and receive food and hygiene items. What started as a small gesture quickly grew into Tate's stand, helping families throughout the year. Tate's efforts have earned recognition from Brigham City, the governor's office, the Utah Jazz, and the American Legion, who honored him as a hero. For Tate, he says the most rewarding part is seeing the smiles of everyone he helps. Through this initiative, Tate and his mother are not only helping people in need, but also fostering a spirit of community and compassion that continues to inspire others. What's something you could do in your community to make a difference? Find out more at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And back to you, Cormac.
The last of those southbound I-15 delays from Davis County still working their way out as drivers finally find their way into Salt Lake. It's a little slow on southbound I-15 from 5th South and Bountiful all the way down to 26th South. We're also seeing it slow from Warm Springs Road down to 600 North on southbound I-15. But otherwise, your drive on I-15 has cleared out. No delays in Utah County or Weber County on your major freeways. We're seeing just normal slowdowns otherwise. Scattered delays both directions on the 201 freeway in Magna and 2100 North in Lehigh. Eastbound scattered delays from Redwood Road over to I-15. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunshine at 73 today, 77 tomorrow, 75 on Saturday. Then we get some rain and cooler temperatures starting on Sunday. Right now it's 62 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I remember when I was growing up, especially during the summertime, my mom would let us just go play, right? And she's like, come back at dark. And if we didn't come back, she had this special yell that she would stand on the back porch and she'd holler for us and we'd all come back for dinner or whatever it was. But we didn't have phones. We didn't have GPS trackers, right? We just went out and played. And some people call that free range parenting. But there are people who are worried that they could be, picked up and hooked up by DCFS.
Of course, at the time, we didn't think of it as free range. We just considered it
parenting.
You would have thought it was something bad if your parents were keeping you closer, that they were hovering, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the helicopter parent. But it was just the way it was. I mean, we had a school probably half a mile from my house. We would all run over to the school and play ball or do whatever we were doing.
Yeah.
And it was nothing. It was nothing at all.
Yeah.
Even if you walked alone, it never occurred to me that there was a problem.
And then when I was raising my kids, I did maybe a modified version of that. But this is, again, pre-cell phone for most of my kids growing up. But I still wanted them to check in. I had a little bit of a tighter leash, I guess I would say, because I was concerned about people who would say, oh, she's not supervising her kids. Well, other people actually, they literally have had consequences to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and people get in trouble because they're not keeping close enough ties on their kids. I, unfortunately, was working in the Special Victims Unit of the Salt Lake District Attorney's Office dealing with child abuse, and so I kept my kids a little closer.
Oh, yeah.
A little closer than a lot of parents probably did.
Well, look, there's one of Utah's congressional delegation, Blake Moore, wants to ease these child neglect rules so parents don't have to worry about letting their kids have some free play. We have with us Cami Mondo from the Deseret News. Are you with us, Cami?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So thanks for joining us, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
I wonder if you could talk to us about this legislation that Representative Moore is proposing, this free-range parenting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I sat down with Blake Morey just yesterday to talk about this bill, and essentially what it would do is just clarify the definitions of what actually constitutes child neglect, so that these parents who do let their kids run around, go to the park, go on walks by themselves, aren't in trouble. They won't get in trouble with federal authorities, which has happened in some cases, not only in Utah. Utah is one of the first states to actually clarify that definition on a statewide level. He wants to expand that to the federal level.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you're exactly right, Cammie. Utah has laws regarding child abuse and child neglect. They're all under the same category of sort of the crimes against children. But we have definitions of what constitutes neglect, and it's not just letting your kid free range. But I can. Some states are like, you've got to know where they are, or that type of thing. Neglect can be like you're not feeding your child, or you're leaving them locked in a room or something like that. And Utah does have some very good definitions of that. So I'm glad to hear that, Cammie, that I guess Blake Moore is looking at the Utah model as something that perhaps that Congress can do nationally, correct?
Correct, and it would do it on a federal level. It's gotten a lot of bipartisan support, which of course, as we know, is very rare to come by in today's Congress, but it has gotten support so that in other states where, maybe letting your kid walk to the park, which is a few blocks away, parents could get called for that. So this would just clarify those definitions to make sure that parents don't have to be afraid to have what is so-called free-range parenting.
So you included two instances nationally where in Illinois, a mom was cited for child neglect after she let 3 of her kids under the age of 11 play at a nearby park. And in Georgia, a mom was arrested after her 10-year-old took a walk less than a mile from their home. I mean, for me as a parent, I look at those types of sticks and say, I'm sorry, kids, but you just can't do that.
Right. And, Representative Moore had a lot of other examples that he had cited as well during our conversation. He was basically just like, this is things that, were so normal when he was growing up. Even when I was growing up, which was only, 20 years ago, I was able to go run around my neighborhood and it was no big deal. And so I think just making sure that these kids can, have normal socialization that, has been so normal, and parents don't have to worry about them getting in trouble for it.
Can I ask you a question, Cammie, about the concern on the other side about safety? So, kidnapping, child assault, those types of things. How big of a concern is that, or is that part of the pushback at all?
Right. And I'd asked Congressman Moore about this as well. And he, was very open to that conversation. He said that there, of course, are concerns about safety. But he also mentioned that because of the technology that we have these days, the kids do have cell phones. They are able to check in with their parents, which he says is actually a strength that he didn't have when he was growing up, that now kids can check in to be like, I'm going here right now. This is where I am. Location tracking, we have that as well. And so, of course, there is always that concern of child safety. But, now we have the technology to address that.
Can I also ask you another question about, does this have any kind of an age guideline? Like, for example, a 12-year-old could go to the park, but not the 2-year-old.
Right. So basically it wouldn't have any ages specifically in there. It would really be up to the parents. It would just, as, Utah laws have it, of just clarifying what exactly is neglect, what's child abuse, as Greg was saying earlier. And so it wouldn't really have any of those specific age restrictions.
Yeah, I'm looking at Utah's child neglect, and it does say, you're spot on, Cammie, that it's much more than just not paying attention. It says if you're doing things that are not taking necessary steps to protect your child's health, safety, morals, or well-being. So you really have to have something being done where the child is more at risk than just at not being cared for specifically. So I can see where this makes a lot of sense. Can you tell our listeners where this legislation is?
Right. So it was just introduced this week, so it's still very early on in the process. But because it does have bipartisan support, it has a Democratic co-sponsor on there, it's a little more likely that you're going to see bipartisan support, which usually that's how bills die in Congress. But it hasn't gotten to the level where it's been to the floor for a vote yet. So it's very early on in the process, but it has gotten a lot of support so far.
So it hasn't even had a committee hearing, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's just been introduced and it hasn't gone through any of the committee procedures yet.
So one of the things that you describe is that it would require the Department of Health and Human Services to conduct a study. Can you tell us just a little bit about what that study would look like?
Right. And so would do that study to, I think look at what those clarifications for those definitions are to make sure that what kids are going through, what does, rise to that level of what neglect or abuse would be to help guide that federal law. So, when kids are running around outside, what does rise to the level of concern and what doesn't?
It just makes so much sense on so many levels, and I want to thank you for joining us, Cami. We never get to see you, but today we got to see you on the screen. So thanks for joining us in that fashion.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Cami. And it's interesting because we're going to talk later in the 11 o'clock hour about outdoor activities and with kids, etc. So I think it's part of all of that conversation.
I like this. I mean, I'm glad we're going in this direction because we did have this fear, and I guess it still persists, of the the stranger driving up and picking up the kids.
Right.
You can't let kids walk home from school alone, and I understand. But what this does, and I think what Blake Moore is trying to do, Congressman Moore is trying to do, is say, let's have some common sense, and let's not just say that every parent that's not watching their child is guilty of neglect. The child has to be at some risk. There has to be something there where you think, well, what parent would do that?
Well, that's another conversation, actually.
Right.
Okay, so up next on Inside Sources, 250 pardons for the country's 250th birthday. Is that a good idea? Well, the president's talking about it. We'll talk about it, too, when we come back.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but I've already...
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
The podcast, Cold, has gone deep on these kinds of stories.
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
Clearly, something happened on that couch because he cleaned it.
Find and follow Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So nothing says birthday bash like presidential pardons.
Yes, and in honor of our country's 250th birthday this year, White House officials are weighing in on a plan for the president to issue 250 pardons.
250 pardons for 250 years of the United States, at least declaring its independence. That's a little bit of clever marketing, but talk to me about the pardon process, because I think it feels to me like it's been used to pardon people who were tried and convicted of some really serious crimes, and then they're just wiped away. I don't understand that part.
That's what a pardon is. So let me just answer the question a little bit, because I looked it up, and President Trump in this particular term, he's been in office now for just about a year and a half, not quite, has pardoned over 1,600 people. That seems like a lot, but there were 1,500 day one when he pardoned the January 6th insurrectionists. Then he's pardoned just over 100 since then. So it's not a real common process, but 100 I guess is a lot. 1,500 bothered a lot of people because that was a terrible event. And spirit of full disclosure, I had a client who was pardoned in that process, one of the January 6th insurrectionists, and what he had done was pretty bad. But he was pardoned nonetheless and never served a day in jail. So the pardon process is a very powerful tool that the president has that nobody else has. So but it's hard to get a pardon, even though he's done over 1,600. You've got to have some clout and some influence. I would say this 250 pardons for the 250th birthday, it makes a lot of sense. To me, I like it a lot, and I'll tell you why, and I'm rambling here a bit. Let me tell you about the pardon process. In Utah, if you're convicted of a crime, you can, after so many years, get what's called an expungement.
Mm-hmm.
Federal law does not have the word expungement in it anywhere. You can go through the process. I was good for 10 years. I had no subsequent, and they'll just grant you an expungement. If you don't like it, you can go to the Board of Pardons and you can get a pardon. The only way you can get a felony off your record in the federal system is by the act of the President of the United States, period. In other words, if you have a state felony for selling drugs and a federal felony for selling drugs, the state one's going to come off your record someday. maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years.
The federal one won't.
The federal one never will. And I have clients, Holly, I've got a particular client who had, he got involved in a gambling ring 30 years ago. He's now a great father. He's now a great husband. He's a great business owner. He's done so much for the community. But he can't carry a gun. He can't take his kids hunting. You know what I mean? For something, he was sort of a low-level bookie here. And so you think about that and you think, okay, it was a felony. It was federal court. He didn't go to prison or anything. But sure, he should get a pardon. But it's almost impossible. You have to stand in line for years to get something like that. And the process is painful. So to me, 250 pardons is almost nothing. I would love it if it was 2,500 pardons. I really do. I think there are that many people that could qualify that you and I, if I sat down and showed you the rap sheet of these people around the country, you'd say, of course they should be pardoned.
So I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I don't think those are the people that have been getting pardons.
I know.
So what I'm seeing is a pattern of people who give significant political donations, and then they find that their white-collar crime, their fraud, their orders to pay back millions of dollars, it's just all wiped away.
I know. And that's the rub. I agree with that 100%. I was talking about the idea, not the implementation. If the people that have been pardoned by this administration in the last year and a half, I would disagree with almost all of them. But I would also say that there's probably 1,600 people that should be pardoned. Now, I know I'm talking out of both sides, but we've had a lot of fraudsters pardoned, a lot of big white-collar cases, and those are troubling to me.
Let me just ask you then the process. So one of the things that I see is that this is a Wall Street Journal article that's talking about these pardons, potentially 250 for America's 250. There's been something like 16,000 requests. So if you've pardoned 1,600 out of 16,000, like who is it that is going through? Because I'm sure it's not the president who says, let me look at all 16,000. Who does that?
Yeah, my guy's one of those 16,000, by the way. We apply every year, or at least fairly often. And I've got a couple people that we've applied for the process. There is a pardon office. There's a
you
bureau
submit an application
that deals
or something.
with that, and I don't know that it's a big bureau, but they look at that and they'll sort of weed through them, and they'll even say this looks good, we're going to submit it, but it doesn't get to the president till
right.
What we've learned over history is when a president is a lame duck.
Yeah.
Let's say in their last 6 months of their presidency, or especially after the November election,
they start to pardon a lot.
They start to pardon a lot of people because there's no downside to it. Otherwise, if you run for re-election, you start pardoning people. People are like, hey, what's up with that? Especially if you're the victim of one of them. Mm-hmm. But pardons are pretty loosey-goosey during the last few months of a presidency.
So one of the things that the Wall Street Journal article points out is, to your point about elections, is this could be controversial heading into the midterms, and so they're not sure if this is actually going to happen. But that's one of the things that they're weighing is, what if this makes people mad right before they go and vote?
Yeah, and so the fear would be not somebody like the guy I'm talking about,
right?
But somebody who's in jail right this second.
Right.
They get pardoned. And
Ghislaine Maxwell, for example,
right?
From the Epstein
or there
files.
was the one case that happened during one of the presidential elections a while ago. The guy got out and he committed another crime immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Willie. I don't remember. It was a
Brown
terrible. It was a terrible situation. So you've got to be circumspect in who you pardon and make sure that they're and that's why you look at, let's say, 10 years of good living, of sobriety, of paying attention, of paying your taxes, of just doing everything. That's a good indicator that person's not going to make you look bad if you give them a pardon.
Let me ask you another question then related to pardons, because you said there's no expungement process. Why would there not be one federally, and could that happen legislatively?
It absolutely could. I mean, the legislature could go in and say federal crimes are eligible for expungement, and they could adopt an expungement statute like we have here in Utah. We just haven't. We've never had it in our country's history that I'm aware of. I don't know why.
Huh.
I mean, the feds take themselves pretty seriously. And I would say this also, and I don't mean to be too facetious because I practice in both state and federal court. The federal government doesn't charge felonies in the same manner the state does. I mean, in the Salt Lake District Attorney's Office, they probably charge 3,000 or 4,000 felonies a year. In the federal government, maybe 300 or 400 in the state of Utah for the whole state. I mean, it's just, and I'm making up numbers. Somebody's going to call and say you're wrong, but the numbers are exponentially different in the state system because the feds don't take the simple cocaine sale,
Right.
of a gram of cocaine. Sure, it's a felony, but the feds aren't going to take that unless it's a pound of cocaine. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Something much more significant.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why we don't have expungements in the state system, or federal system, because the crimes are usually almost always more serious.
So there is part of the discussion, and no firm plans, it sounds like, but he would either, if he were going to do this, President Trump, he would either announce it on Flag Day, which is also his birthday, or actually on July 4th. But even if he doesn't do these 250 for America's 250, he also has some other things going on for that birthday. He has pushed for a National Garden of American Heroes with 250 life-size statues. That would include George Washington, Ronald Reagan, Jackie Robinson. There's a lot of pushback on this, but he launched plans for the Patriot Games with athletic competitions featuring high schoolers. And then, of course, in the news recently, he's been repainting the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Not him personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big event. I remember the 200th anniversary. I'm old enough to remember that.
Me too.
It was huge, and you do a lot of cool things. And so 250, I mean, he's in the White House. He's going to do some big things. Good
It's
for
a
him.
semi-quincentennial.
Yeah, right.
So there's
I don't have any problem with it. I hope we do some exciting things. When you said 250 statues, I was thinking of him, but these
Great American
right,
Heroes.
Yeah, right. Great American Heroes. Yeah.
One of the things too, right, is it would not be unique to this president, not to any president, but when there's special years like Jubilee years, kings and popes have traditionally granted pardons or forgiven sins or whatever, like on a special year. So I can see the argument for 250 in America's 250. I mean, it's certainly an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah.
As long as they're not for sale.
Well, yesterday we talked about President Trump going to China, and I guess he did go to China.
I'd now like to raise a glass and propose a toast to the rich and enduring ties between the American and Chinese people. It's a very special relationship.
President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping met for several hours today discussing future relationships between the two world powers. We'll get more details about that after this break.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, another large energy project is underway in Box Elder County as more Utahns speak out against the planned AI data center. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla explains.
It's not AI, it's nuclear. High-Tech Solutions and Holtec International say that they are planning a nuclear energy ecosystem in Brigham City. It would include anywhere from 4 to 10 small nuclear reactors built around the city. Utah leaders, including Governor Spencer Cox, have showed major support for the project. One noticeable difference between this and the Stratos data center is the project isn't getting the major public backlash. Environmental advocates tell KSL they think it's because a lot of people just don't know about the project, and it's going to be a much longer project, whereas production and the planned launch of the data center is moving very fast. High-Tech says it's taking its time with the planned reactors and wants to include the community in their plans. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The American who tested positive for the hantavirus has been cleared to move out of isolation in Omaha, Nebraska, after his latest test came back negative. But he's being asked to stay there at the quarantine center for now.
As the race to contain the hantavirus intensifies, the CDC now urging those in quarantine at the University of Nebraska Medical Center to remain the full 42 days.
ABC's Victor Akendo reporting from Omaha. The planners of this summer's World Cup say they're planning to put on a Super Bowl-like halftime show during the championship game held in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. The performers will include Madonna, BTS, and Shakira. Your money at this moment. The Dow right now of 398 points. We're at 50,091. Coming up, we stay in the 70s for the next few days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
Are you okay?
Okay. Gas is up. Groceries are up. Everything up, up, up.
Not at Strong Volkswagen.
Strong Volkswagen.
Yeah, purchase any vehicle with a dime. One dime down.
What is the deal with dimes?
One dime down. Plus, oil changes at just $59.95 at Strong Volkswagen.
Just $59.95?
Or lease a new 2026 Jetta S. Just $235 a month. $235.
Fun fact, new Jetta get up to 42 mpg.
Even new all-wheel drive Atlas. Just $432 a month. $432.
And you get a lifetime warranty. Lifetime. But my own mother won't loan me money.
You're not getting the money! It's okay. If you got a job and a dime, you ride, mister.
This is great. I'm back, baby, during Volkswagen Driver Days.
At Strong Volkswagen. For over 70 years, Strong Volkswagen.
Located downtown.
StrongVW.com.
StrongVW.com.
For details, call 801-596-2200.
Spring is here, and so is the Sutherland Spring Spectacular Sale. Are you ready to transform your garden into a vibrant oasis? Head to Sutherland's right now for unbeatable deals on all your favorite plants. Get ready to hang gorgeous 10-inch promo hanging baskets. Regularly $19.99, now slashed to just $9.99. Annuals that delight with color. Sutherland's has 4 packs of annuals regularly priced at $2.99, now only $1.75. Plant more, spend less. Looking to grow your own veggies? Sutherland's 4-inch vegetables, normally $5.99, are now just $4.44. Start your garden today with savings in every pot. And don't miss Sutherland's stunning 1-gallon geraniums, regularly $9.99, now a mere $5.99. So come on down to Sutherland's for the Spring Spectacular Sale. These offers are blooming wonderful, but they won't last long. Visit your local Sutherland store today, and let's make this spring spectacular.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Join us at Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, our biggest trade event of the year, May 14th through the 17th. Trade in your RV and get the highest value guaranteed. Then upgrade for less with new RVs starting as low as $94 a month. Plus, take 25% off select maintenance services. Save up to 40% on camp-ready must-haves. And enter to win a new RV. Don't miss the Red, White, and New Trade event at your local Camping World, May 14th through the 17th. We'll see you there.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. And back to you, Cormac.
Well, we don't have any delays on I-15 all across the Wasatch Front, but we do have a couple of crashes. And the first is at the end of the on-ramp to northbound I-15 at 13th South. And they are out of traffic and in that right shoulder, so again, no delays behind them. And then the other is getting off the freeway from southbound I-15 at 5300 South in Murray. And they are blocking the left lane and shoulder there, getting off and trying to turn to go eastbound on 5300 South, and it looks like they are driving away just as we speak. So a pretty good drive right now all across the Wasatch Front. Help maintain fun at Lagoon, now hiring full-time, year-round ride maintenance technicians and HVAC technicians. Apply at lagoonpark.com/jobs. Must be 18 or older. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
73 today, 77 tomorrow, 75 on Saturday. Then a storm moves in with rain and colder temperatures on Sunday. Right now it's 62 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, as we talked about yesterday, President Trump is in China, and he and Chinese President Xi Jinping spent over 2 hours behind closed doors today actually, in China. And now we're learning that it was that Chinese leader had a pretty stern warning for the United States when it comes to Taiwan. President Trump was praising their relationship.
From the beginning, our citizens have shared a deep sense of mutual respect. Founding Father Benjamin Franklin published the sayings of Confucius in his colonial newspaper, and today's sculpture, recognizing that ancient Chinese sage, is carved into the face of the United States Supreme Court very proudly.
Well, that was interesting because I thought he was going to talk about the warning that the president gave. Basically, what he said was, if it comes to Taiwan, we're we could go into conflict, like basically let us do what we want with Taiwan.
Wow.
He did talk about the importance of the meeting, though, President Xi.
The people of China and the United States are both great peoples. Achieving the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and making America great again can go hand in hand.
There was a lot to talk about, not the least of which was trade, tensions there with respect to tariffs and whatnot. But the big elephant in the back of the room, I think that everybody was waiting for, was what was going to be said about Taiwan.
I know. And Chinese media reported that President Xi warned the President Trump over these disagreements. And that's one of the things that is interesting because, of course, it is. I think Iran is also one of the things that I haven't seen a ton about. But luckily, we do have an expert with us to help us break down what we should know about the importance of this meeting.
Yeah, we have Kelly Currie, former official with the U.S. State Department, joining us. Thanks for joining us this morning, Kelly.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So thank you. So just a question overall. I know you're an expert in this area of the world. What from the 30,000-foot view, what kind of importance does this signal that there is a face-to-face meeting in China between the President of the United States and the President of China?
Well, I think the fact that it was delayed once shows that there was a little bit of concern about the president going into this meeting in the middle of a conflict that was not necessarily going as planned in terms of the situation in Iran, and that instability. That global instability played into the decision to certainly that was the reason it was delayed. And I think that it's operating in the backdrop of this meeting. There has been a lot of commentary about whether this signals that the Chinese are really in the upper hand in this relationship, or whether the U.S. is coming in with the upper hand because of the situation in Iran. I think that neither side really has an upper hand right now because they both have the dependencies in the relationship mean that both sides have cards to play where they can hurt each other or help each other. And I think that this summit allows both sides to feel each other out again. They haven't, the president President Trump and General Secretary Xi have not met since the fall, and a lot has happened since then. So I think that this is part of an important It's the most consequential relationship that the United States has internationally, but it's also the most complicated.
Kelly, before we get to Taiwan, I want to stick with Iran for a minute. Do you know, I mean, we know that China gets something like 30% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz, and they're obviously interested in getting that opened up again. Did we get any sense from either of these leaders that there was progress made there, or that there's discussions ongoing with respect to that whole problem we have in Iran?
I think there have been a lot of discussions ongoing, especially because it's not just about the oil. It's also about the deeper relationship between China and Iran. The fact that China was continuing to supply weapons and some intelligence technology and surveillance information to the Iranians after the conflict started, and U.S. unhappiness with that. There have been some sanctions of Chinese, what are called teapot refineries, these small refineries that operate in China with Iranian oil. And so there have been some signals from the U.S. government that they were not happy about the way the Chinese were engaging with the Iranian side on this conflict. But China also had very large stockpiles of oil and gas and fertilizer and the critical supplies that they needed to withstand a several months conflict. So it's been, they've now, and they've restricted exports on a lot of these commodities. So there are a lot of questions about how much leverage closing the Straits of Hormuz actually gives the United States vis-a-vis China because of their ability to have these massive stockpiles.
Can I ask you a question about Taiwan then? Certainly Utah Senator John Curtis is a very strong proponent of Taiwan and its independence and ability to operate, and yet it seems like there was pushback from Xi on that. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. The status of Taiwan is always a red line issue for the Chinese Communist Party and for Xi Jinping in particular, that he has vowed to, in their words, reunify. And that's a little bit of a misnomer because Taiwan has never been part of the People's Republic of China. To me, it's one of these unresolved issues of the World War II, post-colonial. It was part of Japan's imperial territories, but did not automatically revert to either the Republic of China, which is what the government was before the Communist Revolution took over, or to the People's Republic. So its status has been unresolved in terms of international law since the end of World War II. And I think that it really, this is the Chinese Communist Party has, and Xi in particular, have based a lot of their legitimacy on recovery, what they see as recovery and reunification of Thailand with the motherland. But the United States has historically said that this is a decision for the people on Taiwan to make, and that it should, and it's a situation that should not be resolved through coercion or the use of force. And because China has not ruled out the use of force, the United States continues to provide defensive weapons to Taiwan under the Taiwan Relations Act to allow them to defend themselves against coercive force by China.
Thank you so much. I hope you will join our show again because that was so interesting and insightful. That was Kelly Currie, former official with the U.S. State Department. Really interesting insights. Look, when we come back next on Inside Sources, leaders for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have partnered with the International Organization for Migration in efforts to support vulnerable migrants in Latin America. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
I finally had the opportunity to tighten my belt loops. I've been loosening them for years because my waistline's been getting bigger and bigger, but now I'm starting to tighten them again and realizing that I don't have to throw away all my old suits. The reason? SOTA Diet Nutrition, SOTA. Signed up for them about 5 weeks ago, and I've noticed weight loss every single week. In fact, 22 pounds in 35 days. Believe it or not, I never thought I could do that without taking pills or without taking injections. No, it's all based on diet. A diet that they provide to me, and I send them my little chart every week and say, here's what I've been eating and here's what I've been drinking. They say, well, you need to drink more, you need to eat more. But they tell me what I should be doing, and it's worked, and I'm happy with it. I'm not quite where I need to be, but I'm, 3/4 of the way there. Just food, no pills, no injections. I have a nutritionist that helps line me out. She talks to me every week about what I'm doing right or wrong. My wife is cooking consistent with the program. We've really enjoyed the results so far. SOTA, SOTA, Diet Nutrition. That's SOTADietNutrition.com. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring
Hey folks, Jay Broadbent here from Alpine Home Medical. I've been helping folks breathe easier for 29 years now. Trust me, at my age, I know a thing or two about needing a good night's sleep. Is your CPAP mask old and nasty? Are your masks, filters, or tubing from the pre-COVID era? Or just plain tired of the hassle of ordering supplies yourself? Switch to our resupply program. We handle everything, automatic shipment straight to your door, insurance billing, and expert support. It's quick, easy, and keeps your sleep therapy on track. Doesn't matter where you got your machine from, anyone can join. Head to alpinehomemedical.com, click on the Easy Resupply button. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Jeff Kaplan here, and every once in a while I still do my afternoon radio show from home, which means this entire legendary radio station is depending on the reliability of my Wi-Fi. If it goes out, KSL goes dead. That's why I use Xfinity Wi-Fi. I get Wi-Fi built for speed, powered by fiber with 99.999% reliability. Xfinity gives you the most intelligent Wi-Fi. It can heal itself. Sometimes between my wife, my grandkids, and me doing the show, there's a lot going on in my house, and the Wi-Fi works perfectly. When there's a problem, whether it's streaming, gaming, working from home, or all three, everything in your home works together. And right now, you can lock in 5 years of Xfinity predictability, 5 years at the same price with no contracts or commitments. You get everything you need, the data, the equipment, and the most reliable Wi-Fi. Get online in minutes, same-day Wi-Fi, same price for 5 years, no contract. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Join us at Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, our biggest trade event of the year, May 14th through the 17th. Trade in your RV and get the highest value guaranteed. Then upgrade for less with new RVs starting as low as $94 a month. Plus, take 25% off select maintenance services. Save up to 40% on camp-ready must-haves. And enter to win a new RV. Don't miss the Red, White, and New Trade Event at your local Camping World, May 14th through the 17th. We'll see you there.
Liberty Mutual customized this song for you. Like your car insurance, it's custom too, yeah. Liberty Mutual's got the coverage that could save you money. Thanks to Doug and Limu, well now you can go and take that cruise. Liberty, 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 yeah.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The new Inside Sources.
It's almost, I don't know, ironic, but every time we talk about immigration on this show, we have callers or listeners who say, well, you guys are a little bit too liberal. And some people say, well, you guys are a little bit too conservative.
I know.
You know, it's just a matter of which side you're on and how you address issues. And it's a tough issue. I'll admit it's a very tough issue. You know, we want to choose to see the human part of immigration. And we have heard a lot of stories about people who are deported, who are bad people and who have done some bad things in this country, and some people who are deported and you think, should that really have happened? And of course, the attorney in me says, well, they're all humans, and there's this concept called due process, and maybe we should take a step back and at least look at them as an individual.
Yeah, you know, part of what I want to talk about, this is a story about how leaders from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints just met with leaders from the International Organization for Migration, and it's IOM. And they're talking about migrant support, especially in other countries like in Latin America. But I want to tell you a little bit of experience that I've had with IOM. So I have done international humanitarian work with refugees since, I think it's been a decade. I think it's been since 2016. It might be 2015. The first place I went was to Turkey to work with Syrian refugees. Now, we know that civil war is now over, but it went more than a decade. And I met people there who were displaced because of conflict. For example, unfortunately, I met a dad who was able to get out of the country with most of his family, but not his 4-year-old, because the bad guys took the 4-year-old and decapitated him and put the little boy's head on the dad's doorstep and said, "You're going to work with us." And the dad fled, of course, with the rest of the family. Horrible stories, right? And that's what people talk about with refugees. They are forced out of their countries. They're forced out of the place where they were living. Well, IOM, as this international organization, I have seen in multiple countries around the world that they come in with places like shelter, places to live. So whether that's a tent or it's they're setting up canvas and bamboo pole locations, or in one I saw where it was almost like a very small trailer home because the winters were a lot colder. They have been out there doing good. Well, IOM came to Salt Lake City, and they like I said, they had a meeting with members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So what do we know about the level of collaboration between the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and IOM? Because I mean, this wasn't something that just happened by chance. I mean, this was an organized meeting, and it seems to be a follow-up on previous collaborations.
So the head of IOM came into Salt Lake. They were able to tour the humanitarian facilities that we have in downtown Salt Lake. They also had conversations about supporting vulnerable migrants in Latin America. But you're right, this is not the first time. They have been working together, and the church has supported a lot of efforts that they have done for stability and humanitarian relief. So IOM works in 170 countries, and the church does partner with people around the world to, like, they're not going to recreate the wheel, right? They're not going to reinvent the wheel. They're going to work with people who are already on the ground, and IOM is one of their partners.
It's hard to imagine people being displaced in 170 countries. I mean, that's astounding number to me, that the number of people like that. And so I think it's good that there's collaboration with any organization to figure out what to do with some of these people, because you're right. They're forced out, and when they're forced back, it's often they're going back to a country where they are not safe at all.
So one of the things that I learned really early on in my work with refugees is that most of them do want to go home. Most of them can't. So the people from Syria, now that the civil war is over, they have been able to get a lot of people to repatriate and go back. But you're going back to a place where there's almost no infrastructure. The buildings were bombed out, right? So yes, there's some of that. I would say for people who go to refugee camps and want to leave, the average stay is 20 years. Right? This is a long-term thing that they're talking about. So the church has contributed specifically to IOM programs in Latin America, a total of $1.75 million in Latin America. But again, they work all over the world.
Yeah, so this looks like it was a very productive meeting between the church and the IOM. Leaders from both organizations here, I didn't realize it was really, they're sort of focused on 170 countries, but a lot of them are in the Latin America region. And I suppose that there are a lot of people from those communities that are very receptive to Christianity and to the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So one of the things that the church humanitarian efforts have done that I appreciate is that they don't go to proselytize. And, we had Sharon Eubank in here, in the fall, I think, to talk about her book that she released. But one of the things that she said is, we're there to provide support. We don't ask for conversion. We don't ask for people to be Christian. We're just there to support the people who need the help. So yes, but they're really sensitive, right, to saying, look, there are people in need, and it's our responsibility as Christians to help relieve suffering. And it doesn't matter what organized religion you belong to or not at all. So I'll
support is largely in financial support.
Yeah. One of the ways, for example, like in Panama, one of the things that they've done is just help provide access. So the church has partnered with IOM. They help provide access to food, to basic health care, and temporary shelter spaces, which is what I've seen. In Ecuador, IOM is helping kids with disabilities and neurodivergent conditions to have access to improved health care and develop skills that can support future self-reliance. So one of the things that I've seen around the world too, and you know that we did international adoption starting in 1991, the level of support for people with disabilities compared to what it is in the United States, in other places of the world, it's almost nil, right? In developing countries, there's not a lot of support for people with disabilities. There's not a lot of opportunity. There's not a lot of training. In fact, we adopted a child who is missing a leg, and she had zero prospects for attending school, zero prospects for any kind of a job or work opportunities because she had a physical disability.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the amount of aid and welfare spent by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 2025 alone, $1.58 billion. Now, that's not just for this particular cause, but that was for humanitarian, food donations, welfare, self-reliance programs, caring for those in need. That was an increase of $130 million over what they gave in 2024, about 9%. That was just in 2025, $1.58 billion in aid.
And going along with that, 7.4 million hours of volunteer service.
Right.
And 3,500 humanitarian projects in almost 200 countries and territories.
37 million pounds of food.
It's a lot, right?
From 121 storehouses.
We spoke about America 250, and if you remember, one of the things that the Church of Jesus Christ is doing with America 250 is sending 250 semi-trucks of food to all 50 states.
And we know that the current administration did away with some U.S. aid here, so that our country's not giving the aid that it had been in the past. And so churches such as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have certainly stood up to the plate and made sure that a lot of these communities don't go without.
I think it's good work, and I think that we should be proud of the work that can happen, especially with partnerships, right? I think I've worked in the nonprofit space. That's where my graduate training is in the nonprofit space. And I'm just telling you, sometimes it can feel cutthroat because you're trying to scramble after resources. So when I see partnerships like this, it just makes me happy. We're out there trying to do good and help people who really need it.
And people coming into this country, because we both met them, coming in from who are displaced. I mean, they come here, they hit the ground, and it's not like there's a job waiting for them or a house waiting for them or medical care and things like that. So you need resources like this to get people on their feet and to get them moving forward and to just be able to establish a family here and give them a chance to work.
Yeah, just really quickly, I need to tell you, we're at the highest level of refugees ever that we've ever seen. There's 42.5 million people who are currently classified as refugees. Some of them are internally displaced, which means within their own country, but some of them are not. Okay.
Next on Inside Sources, summer is right around the corner, so we're going to take some time and focus on ways you can still have a fantastically fun, although it's going to be hot, summer
while saving money.
Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top story this hour, another school is canceling class today. Alta High School in the Canyon School District says police are investigating a threat received over the Safe UT app. The school says the decision to cancel class today was made out of an abundance of caution. KSL's top national story this hour from ABC News. A reversal in the Alex Murdaugh case. The South Carolina Supreme Court overturning his 2 convictions in the 2021 murders of his wife and son, but his conviction for financial crimes still stands, and prosecutors say that means he won't be released anytime soon. They also say they're willing to try him again for the murder charges. The man who tried the case, South Carolina Attorney General's Office lead prosecutor Creighton Waters, spoke with ABC News.
We're obviously very disappointed in the court's decision. We disagree with it, but we respect the court and respect the process, and we'll continue on as we always do.
The only American cruise ship passenger to test positive for hantavirus has been cleared to leave isolation. One of Dr. Stephen Kornfeld's tests had come back positive after caring for sick passengers on that cruise ship. Now he's been moved out of his biocontainment unit after testing negative for the virus.
One day after this outbreak was announced, I already saw misinformation all over social media. So that tells us once again that our public health communication needs to match the floodgates of what happens online.
That was ABC News medical contributor and pediatrician Dr. Alok Patel. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 330 points, that's 0.67%. The S&P 500 is up 57 points, that's 0.77%. And the NASDAQ is up 256 points, that's 0.97%. Coming up, a temperate end to the week before it drops off the table next week. KSL Weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest-rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Now on Saturday at 5 p.m. Hyundai gives you America's best warranty on every new vehicle. It includes a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, plus 24/7 roadside assistance. That's peace of mind from Hyundai. And these days, that's priceless.
Now, get the Hyundai Tucson for 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days. Visit your local Hyundai dealer. Offers end June 1st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
For those who are traveling northbound I-15, the crash on northbound I-15 just before 6 South, it's in the cleanup stages over to the shoulder, and all the delays it was causing have cleared. The rest of your Valley Freeway scene, a nice and quiet drive and no problems reported on the main secondaries. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures are going to be in the 70s today through Saturday, but on Sunday dropping to a chilly 58, and on Monday 56 with a low of 38. Talk about whiplash. Right now, though, it's 63 degrees and sunny downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, with the price of gas really high right now, the gas price is also high too. You're probably racking your brain thinking of ways to make this summer fun without having to take out a second mortgage on your house.
And you're in luck. We're going to spend the next few segments talking about ways to get out and have fun without breaking the bank. And look, I had a conversation with my husband last night. What are we going to do about Jazzy and getting her off her device all summer? Because she's the tail end. She's 11. We're raising a granddaughter. So she's a decade younger than our next youngest, who's not even at home anymore. And we're like, if we don't have a plan, she's going to default to devices. We already know that.
Got to get away from that. Well, we're lucky to have in studio with us Kyle Paul, CEO of Get Out Utah. And we've been talking to you. It's been fun talking to you before the segment starts. But tell our listeners what Get Out Utah is.
Yeah, so Get Out is a family entertainment membership, right? And so it's 365 days of fun. You buy it one time, you get access for the entire year to go. Here in Utah, it's over 140 different attractions that you can take your family to. Now, we've got 33 markets across the U.S., but here in Utah, our pass gets you access to all kinds of things like Lagoon, Splash Summit, Real Salt Lake, the Bees. List goes on and on. It's really about getting out, getting away from devices, and going out and making memories with your family.
So So let's talk about the memories and what parents can do. So this is an affordable option, right? I've looked at it. It's the membership is pretty affordable. What can parents do that help create memories and save money at the same time?
Yeah, I'll tell you the inspiration for this business, from my perspective. I've only been with the business for a little over a year, but it came from my grandpa. My grandpa would always tell us the most important thing in his life were memories, and my grandma as well, the memories that they made with us. In his last couple of months, he had a picture of him and my brother and I that he'd hold close to it with the three of us out on the golf course. And it to me has always been one of the most important things I can give to my kids. I have 5 kids, same kind of age range as your caboose there. We've got 5 to 14. But I think the idea is, the time we have with our kids is so short. You've got 18 summers with them. How do we get out and make memories together? I don't have a lot of great memories with my family on the couch. I have a lot of memories of going out and doing things together. And so I think it takes a little initiative. It takes some planning sometimes, but we help with that. We've got a list of 140 different things you can do to go out and make a memory without spending hours planning for it.
Okay, let me put you on the spot because I'm an empty nester with my wife.
Okay.
But I'm listening to you going, I got to sign up. Should I? I mean, is this something that I don't have kids anymore? They're all grown up and gone, Dad, we're out of the state right now. Are there things that are available for people like me?
Well, 100%. Well, let me ask you this, though, Greg. You have grandkids?
Yeah.
Are they around?
8. Pretty close.
Okay. So,
I can see where you're going. You're helping me a ton.
One of the biggest challenges around holidays or any time giving gifts to kids and grandkids is you get them stuff and the parents say, we don't have room for this stuff. Where do we put this stuff? And you don't know if the kids are going to use it. They might already have that thing. But when you buy a Get Out pass for your grandkids, you're basically buying memories with them, right? And you got to buy one for yourself too, so you can go and show up and be like, hey, let's all go to a Bees game together. And you go catch the ball game. You don't have to worry about the cost of admission. You just get in there, go enjoy the game, and make a memory.
Amusement parks too?
Amusement parks. We've got Laguna on there. We've got Splash Summit, water parks, amusement parks. Anything you do to take your family out and have fun, that's where we live.
All right, I love it because I need ideas like that.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about how you captured those memories? Is this we still need our cell phones because we've got to take a bunch of pictures? I mean, for me, I think one of the things as I've gotten older is I look at pictures. This is back in the day before digital cameras. I have pictures now that I look back there maybe from 35 years ago with my older kids who were when they were young. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't remember when this was. And then I try to look for contextual clues. How many kids are in the photo? Which kid, what clothes are they wearing?
I love it. You make me laugh because we've got 3 boys that all looked about the exact same when they were the same age. And so we have to know, all right, when was this? Was this solely Nixon or Hudson? I'm not sure which one it was. But that's one of the great things. You go to and do these things that you otherwise wouldn't do. I think that's what you were alluding to, Greg, where it's like sometimes I run out of ideas, but part of what we do with Get Out is give you ideas. We seed ideas of things you otherwise might not think to do. And then you go out and do these things that's like, color me mine. Wow, I'd never thought about taking my kids to go paint ceramics, but that sounds like a great thing to do. I wouldn't have thought about it without the pass. And so, you get this, it contextualizes the pictures in different experiences that you're having as opposed to doing the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have arrangements with some of these groups and organizations so that if somebody invests in one of these, I guess invest isn't the right word, they buy one that you can save money?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a financial incentive to doing it too?
There is. I mean, we have amazing partners. We have over 2,000 partners all across the U.S. And the incentive for them is we're a marketing resource for them, right? Just the way I said that we're providing ideas for you and your family, we're creating exposure to these venues that you otherwise might not have thought of. And so you show up there for the first time, you have a great time, and you say, man, this is so much fun. Your kids say, I want to come back here. When can we come back? There's also incentive where they would love for you to spend extra money while you're there. Buy the pizza, play the arcade, do the other things. And so the arrangement that we have is mostly for sending people. We have 120,000 members here in Utah. So we're sending those folks to all of these amazing partners that we have, and they're making memories while they're there.
You know, one of the things that I remember when I was raising my family is hearing somebody talk about how the kids are not going to remember that you remodeled the bathroom, but they are going to remember that you took a trip or you had an experience. And so that has played into my husband and my decisions to maybe do a little less around the house and more with getting out. So if we're taking our family out, one of the things that I appreciate, you mentioned Color Me Mine. I'm barely familiar with that, right? And so you've got some ideas there, and I don't have to spend the brain time, is what you're saying, of saying, oh my gosh, okay, let's do a Google search. What's near me? Is that one of the things that is an advantage for this?
You got it, Holly. You're going to go do things that you otherwise never would have done. And I've done that with my family, right? Like having the pass. We actually had the pass ourselves before I ended up, becoming part of the organization. And we were so excited when we found out I was going to have this opportunity because my kids were like, we love that thing. We love Get Out because it forces us to go and make memories. And there's a little bit of an all-you-can-eat buffet flavor to this, too, where it's like you probably eat a little bit more than you should when you go to Chuck-A-Rama, but that's okay when it's about making memories. It's like you pull this thing out, you're like, hey, I paid for it for the year. I might as well get my money's worth. Let me go and find some things I otherwise never would have done. So we're going to help you make those memories and find new things.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we have a texter that has just let us know that they're going to hit all the games this year on your pass: Falcons, Utah Wild, Salt Lake Shred, Bees, Soccer Royale, Utah Stars, and Soccer Royals. So I only know
You've got a lot of
one of those names.
Relationships. It sounds like you're all over the place.
Pretty much any sports game you want to go to in Utah, we've got almost all of them. And almost any family fun place you could go.
And in terms of statewide, I mean, a staycation of, let's say I want to get a little bit away from the Wasatch Front. Have you got arrangements outside of this specific area?
We do. We have quite a few places down in St. George. We just added a golf course out in Vernal. So if you're ever out in Vernal, want to play some golf, we got one out there. We've got a few in Cache Valley. The majority are concentrated right here around the Wasatch Front, but we've got things all over the place.
That's wonderful.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. We actually have some breaking news that we're tracking here on Inside Sources. We're going to go to KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott.
Breaking here at KSL, the Salt Lake County District Attorney says a Taylorsville police officer was not justified when using deadly force. The officer is now facing manslaughter charges. We have a reporter at the DA's office and are currently waiting for more details. I'm Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Welcome to J&J Nursery, Utah's largest producing nursery. That means they grow more, so you get the best selection, freshest plants, and unbeatable quality, straight from their nursery to your home. They're open year-round, offering everything from stunning outdoor plants to lush indoor greenery, unique home decor and gifts, and all the nursery and garden supplies you need to grow something amazing. J&J Garden Center in Layton. Just take the Layton Parkway exit to Main Street and head west on Gentile.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier, turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
A family office is a team built to handle the three biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner? Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight. Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things.
I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink? Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol.
If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family and I don't want to get in trouble. Okay. Really? I promise, Grandma. I love you too. Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
I think my biggest challenge was getting through to him to understand that love is real and you have goals in mind, you have things that want to happen, and I want to help you get there.
Sometimes people tend to shy away from wanting to adopt teenagers because they feel like they've lost so much, but there's still so much to gain.
Just knowing that there's just that other person that cares and loves me out there, it feels great. And they've done so much for me, and I can only be appreciative every single day for just having them in my life.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son, and he's the best son ever. If I was down and out, he'd be there.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
We do have some breaking news today. The District Attorney's Office has announced charges against a police officer, Jeremy Haas, Haas. I think he was working with the Taylorsville Police Department, has now been charged with manslaughter, a second-degree felony from an event that occurred on October 9th, 2024 out on 39th South and 3rd West, claiming that he recklessly caused the death of another person. So it's unusual, Holly, I would just say in my experience, that a person is charged with manslaughter, but this is something that the District Attorney's Office has been investigating for some time. There's a very lengthy probable cause statement that talks about the body cam and what was going on and the information that they got. But we do have Heather Peterson who's got more. Heather, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this was a shock because, as the district attorney said, this is not a frequent occurrence. They haven't had an unjustified shooting by a police officer in probably the better part of a decade. And so revealing today that this shooting was unjustified and that one charge of manslaughter was going to be put forth was kind of a shock.
So, Heather, can you help us help remind us of what this shooting was in October of 2024? Because I don't remember.
So this was the shooting of a suspect who was allegedly in a stolen vehicle. They'd run the plates and realized that that this didn't belong to him, or so they thought. And then he was in the car with a woman, and they'd kind of fled the cops. There was some ramming of the police vehicle, and the officer ended up firing a shot into the vehicle, which struck the suspect. His name was Henry Chavez Jr., and he kind of ran from the scene even after being shot, but later died from his injuries. And this was in Taylorsville back in October of 2024.
I don't suppose there's an answer to this, but I don't know if the DA mentioned anything about the timing of this, because this happened almost 2 years ago. And I know that they take these very seriously, but did the DA say anything in terms of this release about why it took so long to file charges?
It sounds like it went through a really lengthy review process after the normal review by their critical incident management team. They ended up hiring an outside expert to relook at this case and give their expert opinion. And that was actually just submitted back to the DA's office back in April. So they have since taken the month to decide on filing charges and alert the suspect, or the victim, in this case, his family, and as well as the officer and his legal team. So it went through a number of review processes before they decided to file charges in this case.
Yeah, I'm looking at the information, which is the charging document, and it does list the name of the suspect, Haas, but it says in care of, and then it has his attorney's name. So obviously he's had an attorney involved in this from day one, and the district attorney issued a summons, which means that he will not be arrested. He doesn't have to post bail. A summons, sort of what you get on a traffic ticket or something. It's not uncommon. I'm not saying that there's anything inappropriate, but apparently he's been cooperative and has been available, so they didn't feel like they needed to issue a warrant. Was this just a press release that just came down just within the last little while, Heather?
No, I haven't even received a press release yet. We just sat through a news conference with Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill, and they gave us the probable cause statement about halfway through the press conference. So I'm still getting up to speed, just looking through all the details of this probable cause statement. It's about 4 pages long, detailing, exactly what led up to the shooting and the fact that he didn't have a gun on him when the shots were fired into the vehicle. So that is partially why they decided that this shooting didn't meet the threshold for law enforcement to fire deadly force in this case.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. That was Heather Peterson with KSL News Radio. But I want to ask you then, Greg, several questions. So I know that it is normal for it to take a good amount of time, like I'm thinking like maybe a year. You mentioned this seems to be extra long. Am I in the right ballpark? That typically it takes like a year anyway. Yeah,
so this was closer to a year and a half. It's alleged to have occurred on October 9th of 2024. And it's a manslaughter, not a murder, because of course you would never expect an officer to intentionally kill someone. But what they're saying was to get a manslaughter under the theory that they filed here, it's that the officer was reckless, that he was careless, that he
fired a gun when he shouldn't have fired. Is that basically it?
Yes, right. That he recklessly caused his death. So it's kind of I won't say imperfect, but we sort of look at it as like you maybe thought you had self-defense, but you didn't. That they're looking at the officer's conduct saying you really weren't justified here. So you were more reckless than intentionally trying to just take advantage of a situation.
So let me ask you this, because you've had a number of experiences with cases like these. I understand, even from my time doing Citizens Police Academy, that it is really, really stressful, and that when you've got adrenaline pumping, you may not have the ability to make maybe the clearest decisions. How does that play into this decision-making process of when to pull and then fire a weapon, knowing that in periods of extreme stress, right, that there's some changes?
It plays a great deal in it. I mean, what did we talk about yesterday?
I know.
Officer memorial, because an officer gets involved in a situation and the officer gets shot.
Right.
And anytime you're in a situation like this, I mean, this officer didn't pull his weapon for a speeding ticket.
Right.
I mean, there was something going on, and that's why it's a 4-page probable cause statement. Heather just mentioned that, and I'm reading it sort of as we're talking here. There's a vehicle stop. They're going back and forth. The vehicle goes forward. It goes back. There's something going on. I think this officer is going to claim, and it's not clear what he's saying, that he thought that the suspect, the person that was ultimately killed, I guess we'll call him the victim, was armed or was doing something that officer perceived as a threat. That would be the only reason, the only justification. What the DA is what the DA is saying here is that there was no justification, and in fact there was no gun. He didn't have any guns. It doesn't matter. I mean, too much. I mean, if he's using his vehicle in a deadly
right,
or if he has the perception that he's got a handgun or a weapon, that's enough. But in this case, what they're saying is that they really didn't feel like they had that it was not reasonable. They have a consultant that they hired, an expert, and I just want to read something. They brought an expert in who reviewed it, and he said this: "It is my opinion, to a reasonable degree of professional certainty based on the evidence analysis, that Detective Haas' actions in firing his weapon through the rear windshield of the green pickup truck at the driver HC, including the amount of force used, were not reasonable, not consistent with general industry standards for the use of deadly force for officer-involved shootings. He failed to follow the Taylorsville Police Department's policies and common industry standards in the manner in which he responded to the incident. His actions amounted to use of force which were not reasonable, not necessary, considering the totality of the circumstances." In other words, he used force, but under the circumstances, the totality of the circumstances, everything that he was perceiving at that time, that was not justified.
So partially because the gun was fired through the rear window.
Right. That's
while
a problem.
he was trying to
That's
leave.
a problem, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but unless so shooting through the rear window of a car isn't necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what's in front of the car. If there are other officers or citizens there, you're trying to protect people.
So let me ask you then just a little bit about process. You said he was issued a summons and not a warrant, so they're anticipating that he'll show up
voluntarily. Yeah,
voluntarily.
And they even served the summons on his lawyer.
So let me ask you this: I know that when there's an officer-involved critical incident, that they're put on administrative leave. Has he been on administrative leave this entire time?
I'm assuming that he has been, and I'm also assuming that the department may have taken steps to terminate him. Now that may not be the case. I don't know, but my guess is that Taylorsville PD's been paying him since this occurred, unless he resigned or something like that.
Wow.
But they'll usually put somebody on a paid administrative leave during an investigation. Now that he's been charged, they may take the next step and say, okay, we think that there's more going on here than just a probable cause determination. The DAs have decided to charge you. Now, they don't have to wait until he's convicted. Sometimes they will. Sometimes they'll say, we'll keep you on leave.
Right, because you've got a presumption of innocence for him as well.
Right, but at least it shows that some level a prosecuting entity has looked at this and they've decided that it's bad. And that's often enough for the department to say, okay, if it's good for them, it's good for us too, and we're going to find that it was a bad shoot.
Okay. Well, I appreciate...
Those are tough cases. Those are heartbreaking cases because this officer was doing his job one minute and the suspect in a homicide the next.
Is it a homicide or a manslaughter?
Well, homicide includes the
death
whole
by
range.
Somebody else.
Death. Sorry.
Your little terms.
Murder. It's not a murder. It's a homicide.
Murder. Okay. Well, up next on Inside Sources, we're going to go back to talking about summer fun and ways that you can stay safe while having fun.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this hour. We've got breaking news here at KSL. The Salt Lake County District Attorney says a Taylorsville police officer was not justified when using deadly force in an incident last October. According to police documents, 36-year-old officer Jimmy Haas shot Henry Chavez Jr. while he attempted to flee on foot after ramming a police vehicle with a van. Chavez fled after being shot but was found by police unresponsive in a nearby garage. Medical aid was administered, but he succumbed to his wounds in the chest shortly after. Haas is currently being charged with 1 count of manslaughter. We have a reporter at the DA's office and we'll have more details as they come available. The city of Ogden is asking residents and businesses to do more to conserve water ahead of what looks like a very dry summer. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Phase 2 of Ogden's water conservation plan involves asking residents to voluntarily reduce their water use by 10% and businesses by 15%. It's still early in the season, and if things get worse, the city may have to move from voluntary water restrictions to mandatory. That could include restricting non-essential use, limiting lawn watering, and reducing irrigation days. In an extreme situation, city officials tell the Standard Examiner water could be prioritized for hospitals and public safety. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 319 points. That's 0.64%. The S&P 500 is up 48 points. That's 0.65%. And the NASDAQ is up 200 points. That's 0.76%. Coming up, we're going on a cooler week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you're in the process of making your Memorial Day plans, it's time to make the plans to drop by one of the 4 NPS stores. Hi, this is Doug Wright, and they have got it all. If you're looking, of course, for the food, for the picnic at Memorial Day, they have got it at 20 to 70% off on everything. And of course, things for the lawn and for the garden, plants, they have got that as well. And fun things to make your Memorial Day weekend complete, including things for the kids to play with, the pool toys, and so much more. And don't miss the exceptional prices now each and every day, 20 to 70% off retail at NPS. Then the flash sales are an additional percentage off on top of that. Look for the weekly flash sales. You'll be amazed at what you'll find. You'll be amazed at the prices and the great people who will help you out at NPS in Layton, Orem, and the 2 Salt Lake stores on Empire.
Every year, the America First Charitable Foundation Diaper Drive provides essential goods to thousands of families. And you can help by dropping off diapers at any America First branch or by securely contributing funds online. Together, we can make life a little easier for those who need it most. So please visit americafirst.com to donate or to learn more today. The America First Charitable Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Federal tax ID number 84-2568867. Donations are tax deductible to the extent allowed by law.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Alan Johnson right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Alan is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Alan's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Join us at Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, our biggest trade event of the year, May 14th through the 17th. Trade in your RV and get the highest value guaranteed. Then upgrade for less with new RVs starting as low as $94 a month. Plus, take 25% off select maintenance services. Save up to 40% on camp-ready must-haves. And enter to win a new RV. Don't miss the Red, White, and New Trade event at your local Camping World, May 14th through the 17th. We'll see you there.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
We're looking at a pretty good drive on the Valley Freeways. Downtown, we do have a crash in the cleanup stages at 1300 South and 4th West. And in Utah County, a crash reported on the eastbound side of Highway 6, but it's been causing a little bit of slowing both directions. This is in the Tucker area. It's going to be east of the Tie Fork Rest area near Gillilly Switchback. If you're going to be traveling there, you could see a little bit of backup. At Olson's Greenhouse, gardening brings families together. Hands in the soil, time well spent. Add fresh flowers to porches, patios, beds, or containers. Learn more at OGG.com. OGG.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures are in the 70s for the rest of the week until Sunday when they drop to 58 with a chance of rain, and then 56 on Monday with a low of 38. Right now, though, it's 63 degrees and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Holly, what do vultures, ambassadors, giveaways, and outdoor safety have in common? They're all part of a new initiative from the state emphasizing safety when outdoors, which is a good idea.
It's very clever, too. So it's Governor Spencer Cox recently declared that this coming Saturday, in a couple of days, May 16th, is Adventure Safe Day. So we have with us Natalie Randall, Managing Director of the Utah Office of Tourism and Film, on the line to talk to us about Adventure Safe Day. Thanks for joining us, Natalie.
Thanks for having me, Holly and Greg.
So we saw that the governor and other Utah communities, including Daggett County, Moab and Grand County, and others, declared May 16th Adventure Safe Day in Utah. Can you tell us about why and what got us to this point?
Of course, definitely. You know, in Utah, as you two well know, we have such a diverse landscape, and as a result, that allows us to have such diverse activities, whether we like mountain biking or hiking, or maybe it's whitewater rafting and ATVing. There's just so many things that we as Utahns love and enjoy. We always tend to say Mother Nature played favorites, but she's also unpredictable at times. And regardless of our age or experience with any of these outdoor activities, it's just so important that we take a couple extra minutes to just think and plan ahead so we can have the best adventure. And that's what's really led us to this initiative and to lean into this on May 16th.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the groups involved. Daggett County, which I think is where Flaming Gorge is. Grand County, you mentioned Slick Rock, the Jeep trails, a lot of places where people can get hurt. And of course, I don't know if you know this, you wouldn't have any reason to, Natalie, but in the winter, I spend my weekends on the ski patrol talking about trying to keep people safe. So this makes a lot of sense. Our outdoor environment is so beautiful and so fun, but it is inviting to people, and it does, I mean, people really can get themselves in a lot of trouble, especially in the heat. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's so correct. You know, and that's really why we built this Adventure Safe campaign. It was really to think about all of those pieces. This is a serious topic at the end of the day, just to ensure that Utahns are prepared as they're getting outside. They're experiencing a lot of different types of landscapes, especially as we're going into the summer. The heat's so important to think about, plan ahead, check that forecast, make sure you have enough weather, or make sure you have enough water to prepare for the weather that you might encounter. And so that's really how we thought about, you know, building this campaign. We really wanted it to be approachable, to ensure that it allowed for curiosity. Sometimes these messages can be a little bit bland and not as exciting, but as you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, we've taken a different approach to that to make sure that regardless of age or experience, people, it's memorable and they want to dig more into what this means. And hopefully it reminds them to think ahead just a couple minutes before they head out on their adventure.
So one of the things you have done to make it fun is you have some extra help. Can you tell us about Frank and Morris?
I definitely can. I don't want to take away from them because we have them online too, just to say a few words for us. But these are two of our outdoor safety influencers. And again, as we thought about this campaign, we really wanted folks to remember a few tips and tricks. Take a couple extra minutes, whether it's check the forecast, check your footwear, make sure you have enough water or food. This was a unified effort with partners across the state, from state parks, natural resources, Division of Outdoor Rec, local businesses, to make sure we got these tips and tricks right. And so Frank and Morris are our adventure safety experts, and they're the ones that really share this message with folks across the state.
Let's hear
I'll
from
turn
them.
that time over to them.
Yeah.
Frank. Hey, we're happy to report that we're seeing great stuff on the trail today.
What? We haven't seen one dead thing.
I know, because people are prepared. They're hydrated and adventuring safe.
But what about lunch?
Ooh, how about seasoned cactus blossom?
Yucca. How about rotten possum?
Yucca, too. Back to you in the studio.
And we should mention that Frank and Morris are
They're
vultures. Yeah, good for them. They're so cute.
One dead thing all day.
You got to see the pictures.
Okay, so back to Adventure Safe Day. What can Utahns expect on Saturday, May 16th?
Yeah, again, this is partnership with so many folks across the state. We won't have Frank and Morris out on the trail maybe, and you might not run into them. You'll run into our ambassadors at state parks, at festivals, at business locations, various areas. Those ambassadors will be prepared to answer any questions, to share those tips and tricks. They'll have stickers, coloring books. There's even a vulture-proof safety checklist we've created that they'll have on site. We'll be at the Kilby Block Party Music Festival as well. So exciting to see that activation, and hopefully we'll see a lot of folks there. We're really just trying to meet adventurers where they're starting on their experience and on their trip so that they can, again, think about those tips and tricks as they're heading out.
How will we recognize these ambassadors?
So they'll have t-shirts on, we'll have some hats as well. And again, they'll be out there and you'll see a table too. And so they'll have those resources right out there for you.
So I understand there might be some giveaways tied to Adventure Safe Day on Saturday. Can you tell us about that?
Definitely. We encourage everybody to visit adventuresafe.org. That's where you can preview the vultures. You can see some of their videos that they have, but that's also where you can see all of those tips and tricks. We want to make sure that Utahns are seeing those, that they're interacting with them. But most importantly, we want people to get outside. That's what's so great about Utah is we have this great landscape and diversity. And so to encourage that, Utahns can enter to win one of 5 amazing adventures throughout the state. Just go to adventuresafe.org.
Uh-oh.
We just lost her.
There
here
she's back.
So is this a statewide effort?
It's a statewide effort. Again, it's connecting and partnering with state parks and Division of Outdoor Rec and Natural Resources. All that information's at adventuresafe.org.
Okay, we lost you for just a second, but you were saying that there's getaway packages. Can you share some of the details about what people could win?
Everything from Via Ferrata experiences, any type of adventure that you can experience across the state, from getting out and seeing our dark skies, there's yurt opportunities, there's so many things, but 1 in 5 options. There's 5 options across the state to have.
And let me just say that I think I learned the word Verrata last week. So it's a climbing, rock climbing in a safe way. Is that right?
Very approachable way to help folks experience climbing without having to have, all of the other technical pieces associated with it. But it creates it so that it's a more approachable and accessible way to get out on the rock.
Okay.
I have to say, I've never heard of that word until just now.
No, I just learned it last week. So.
I'm looking at a lot of these locations, and I won't go through them all because it's very numerous, but you've got parks all over the state. Some of the most beautiful parks in the state, down Snow Canyon area, down south, Dead Horse Point. I mean, all over Great Salt Lake. Anyway, this sounds incredible. Hopefully this is the first annual, or at least it's going to be an annual event. Is that right?
That's our hope. This is the first time we've ever done it, and we hope to continue to do it in future years.
All right. Thank
Sounds
you
great.
so much for joining us. It's really interesting. And you've got these, the vultures. So we talked with Natalie. She's the managing director of the Utah Office of Tourism, but they focus on responsible tourism statewide. And this, it's a marketing campaign, but it's a safety campaign in a way that she said is not boring. And I think she's right. I love it.
And really, if you're getting out this weekend, you got to be safe. And next weekend's the first holiday weekend of the
It
summer,
is,
so,
yeah, the summer, the official summer kickoff. So if you want to have some fun this weekend, but you don't want to have to go too far, there is plenty to do here locally along the Wasatch Front. We're going to talk about a few cool things happening this weekend, along with some fun facts and closing arguments from Greg. We'll be right back.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials, like James Hardy siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriorsutah.com. That's rgsexteriorsutah.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Hi, it's Greg Skordas, and for years and years, I'd maintained the same weight until I hit 60, and then it started piling on. I don't know why. I could not get that weight to come off. So I contacted SOTA, and I said, look, I need to lose between 20 and 30 pounds. They said, sign up, and so I did. There's no pills, there's no injections, it's just food. I have a nutritionist who helps me, and I told her, look, I can't even wear some of the suits I used to wear. Well, after the first week, I lost 8 pounds. After the second week, I'd lost over 10 pounds. I'm starting to be able to put some of my suits on. I'm starting to be able to put my belt on like I hadn't before. I'm back on the bicycle again. I'm getting outside again, and I'm doing the activities that I did when I was 40 years old. Having my wife join me was great because you can join now and your partner joins for free. That's right, 2 people for the price of 1. SOTADietNutrition.com. It's a great program. It's worked for me. It'll work for you. SOTA, as in state of the art. SOTADietNutrition.com. SOTA Weight Loss. Join them for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
On top of home and auto, Progressive protects your boat, RV, and motorcycle so you can explore the unknown.
Actually, we just take the RV to the same campground every year.
Well, maybe you can catch your own dinner on your boat.
Oh, we can actually get pizza delivered there from this brick oven place we love.
Will you at least try a new topping?
Honestly, probably not. We kind of have a go-to order.
Fine. Just bundle home or auto insurance with your outdoor vehicles with Progressive and stay protected when you go, I guess, where you've gone before. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. In 2023, Utah lawmakers created Utah Waterways to unite conservation efforts and promote smarter water use through the Slow the Flow campaign, helping protect Utah's water for the future. Director of Community Engagement, Cynthia B., joins us with more.
Water fuels Utah's economy, communities, and quality of life. And the future of this vital resource depends on what we do today. Government, businesses, and nonprofits are stepping up. But the real power lies in aligning our efforts and speaking with one strong, unified voice for water conservation. In the coming decade, Utah must transform hundreds of millions of square feet of non-functional lawn to water-wise alternatives, and businesses are essential to making that change happen. Most commercial landscapes offer no recreational benefit, yet they consume enormous amounts of water. By partnering with the Slow the Flow campaign, companies can lead by example, showcase impactful results, and inspire others to follow. We equip corporate green teams and employees with education, tools, and mentoring to turn ideas into action. Businesses can also invest directly in the nonprofit Utah Waterways, helping fund conservation projects in the communities they serve.
Utah stands at a pivotal moment, and through Utah Waterways, businesses can lead on conservation and help protect the state's water future. Learn more and access resources at utahwaterways.org. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
Seems like we've been spending a lot of time this last hour talking about all the fun things to do this summer, but even though we still have a few weeks of spring left. But if you're in for some fun this weekend, there's a lot going on even the weekend before Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, there really are. And it's one of the things that I think is fun to start talking about. So we mentioned, and in fact, our last guest mentioned Kilby Block Party. There's even big names like Lorde is going to be there, but I don't know all these people, but I do know Lorde. There's Modest Mouse, Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah, and Rit Momney. So that's at the Fair Park. There's Living Traditions, too. That's this weekend. It's a multicultural festival with food, art, and performances from around the world. And this is Washington Square Park and Library Square, Friday through Sunday. It's free, but donations are accepted online.
Yeah, it looks like the Salt Lake Art Show. That can't be this weekend, is it?
Says it is.
The Mountain America. Oh, it's at the Mountain America Expo Center. It's not the Salt Lake Arts Festival.
Right.
But yeah, Thursday through Sunday at the Mountain America Expo Center. That would be worth going to if you like art. We love going through that. They're having a gallery stroll, too, at the Art of the Town at South Jordan City Hall.
There's also Farm Fest at Wheeler Farm, their annual spring celebration. There's wagon rides, demonstrations, etc. That's 9 to 1 on Saturday.
Taylorsville Starry Nights concert series, 5:30 Friday at the Centennial Plaza. That's free. Hooray.
It is free, and my husband would be really interested in this one, although we have other plans. But jigsaw puzzle competition. So teams actually start assembling pieces at 5 p.m. at Saturday at the Park Center in Murray, and you do have to register for that.
Well, this looks like a lot of fun. So, yeah, and last, Creatures and Features. Shop from magical makers and enjoy free screenings of the craft at West Jordan's Pioneer Hall for free. 7 p.m. on Sunday, noon to 7 on Sunday.
And I do have one more. It's the Utah Food Festival with the Natural History Museum. So you have local artisans showcasing their wares. You get entry to that as long as you have entry to the museum.
Good for them.
Okay,
a lot of
so
fun this weekend.
Stuff to do
but be
outside.
Careful, right? And
outside.
Don't get hurt.
Be careful.
Right, yeah.
Drink water.
Right.
Right. It's hydrating. Right. Really is one of the big key things.
Saturday's
I think.
Be Safe Day.
Be safe. Yeah. Adventure safe. So today is weird. Some of these days, it's actually National Buttermilk Biscuit Day. So.
Oh, I love buttermilk.
I know, and you
With
can't have
butter.
any. Too bad. So sad. We actually make really light biscuits with buttermilk and sour cream. And it came from a 1970s cookbook, not even joking, but that was back in the day where they don't add salt. And so I have added salt to my recipe because they taste really weird without it. But National Buttermilk Biscuit Day.
You know, my wife is celiac, so we don't have biscuits at all. But I love them. I sneak them once in a while when we go to a restaurant, but she can't cook them.
So on this day, which is May 14th, on this day in 1607, Jamestown was founded as the first permanent English colony in the Americas.
What year?
1607.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
been a minute. Been a
Jamestown.
minute.
Right.
So in 1796, an early smallpox vaccine was tested by an English country doctor. His name was Edward Jenner. And I don't know if you remember the story about the smallpox vaccine or vaccination. And smallpox was devastating. It's been like at least 3,500 years documented, killing people, scarring, permanently disfiguring people. Well, in the 1700s, late 1700s, a doctor noticed that some of the farm hands were not getting smallpox. He didn't, like germ theory and stuff, still a way out, right? So what he tried was taking cowpox, which was similar but impacted cattle.
Right.
And he actually, I think if I remember the story, he cut an arm of his willing subject and injected it, basically. He basically put cowpox in this person, and then they were exposed to smallpox, and they didn't get it. And that was...
That's how vaccines
still
kind of work today.
Kind
in
of,
some
right?
respects, yeah.
In some vaccines, for sure. So anyway, so this was the day in 1796 that he tried that. Now, this was a fun fact from just a few days ago. It was declared eradicated in May of 1980. It took a long time.
Smallpox.
Yeah. To be eradicated. But it was. And anyway, it was on this day. In 1804, also, Lewis and Clark left on their famous journey to explore the Northwest. They took with them a black slave who was known only as York. And of course, we know the story of Sacagawea, or however you pronounce her name correctly.
Right. You said it just right.
Who went on the journey with them, but they left on this day in 1804.
And that was a monumental mapping and really
all the way to the West Coast.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 1944, we should have gotten some music for this. Sorry, it's George Lucas's birthday. So Star Wars.
Oh,
right. He was born on this day in 1944. And then this is geopolitical, but interesting. It was in 1948 that the state of Israel was recreated, I guess, proclaimed. It was the first Jewish state in 2,000 years, 1948.
Yeah.
Right? So they're
and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah, people are still fighting about that.
And in 1955, the Warsaw Pact was formed with the Soviet Union and 7 of its European little satellites. The pact was dissolved in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union, but this is the day that it began. And then I will also say this, in 1984, Mark Zuckerberg was born on this day. So he is 42 years young.
Yeah.
He's so young and
That's
so
the age of my son.
crazy wealthy. Yeah. Yep. And then finally, I guess in sadder news, it was on this day in 1998, actually, that Frank Sinatra died. He was 82. And
Speaking of music,
yeah, I know.
We
should have planned ahead.
We should have got some, start spreading the news. Yeah. Frank Sinatra. 1998. That was I Did It My Way. Was
well, when I think about Frank Sinatra, and I think, that's like my parents. That's like really old. But he died in '98, which to me is not that long ago. But I guess it's almost 30 years, which is crazy.
I still enjoy listening to his music.
Okay, do you have some closing arguments?
Well,
for
I do,
us, Mr. Attorney?
and I just harken back to yesterday when we left the show. We were listening to a sentencing of the Corey Richins case, and we've had enough Corey Richins. Promise not to talk about it after today, but it every once in a while you'll have a case that occurs, and I've been in the system for over 40 years where it just captures the public's interest. Because a murder happens every 20 minutes in this country. I don't know. I mean, it's and who cares? But every once in a while you get one, and it often depends on the subject. I mean, but every once in a while you get one that involves the person next door, the person that you could have been the neighbor to. A doctor who kills his wife, or somebody throws his girlfriend off the cliff, or something like that. But you know, murders happen, and we don't care about them unless it hits home, and this one did hit home to a lot of people. I mean, a beautiful couple lived up in the Park City, Heber City area. You know, beautiful children. The picture and the media loves to show pictures of the family because they are such a handsome family, and everything is going well. And I think that the reason that cases like that attract so much attention is because it could be you. It could be your neighbor. You know, and these were people's neighbors. These were kids that went to this other kids' grade schools, and so the nation watches us. And of course, to me as an attorney, I think, okay, the world's watching, and we've got another big one that happened, down at UVU, where the world's watching, and you think, how are we going to look in Utah? How are we going to come across? And I watched the judge, and I watched the prosecutor and the defense attorneys yesterday, and I thought, we nailed it. We did a good job. What happened there showed people how the court system works, and people don't get to see how a sentencing works. And so we had all this attention, and to me as an attorney, I'm like, don't blow it, Utah. Don't do anything weird. And people still will have concerns about this or that, but that judge was just so beautiful and articulate in his ruling. And just to listen to it, and it was so well thought out. And if you listened to him, you understood exactly what he was doing and why. It wasn't some random selection, and he wasn't like going off on hyperbole and whatnot. And the attorneys made their arguments, and they made compelling arguments. And I'm sitting there listening going, I don't know what he's going to do. I think the defense made a great argument for giving her some chance of parole someday. I think the state made a great argument for saying she should never walk out. And so until he said that, and he teased us, he went through count 5, 4, 3, 2, and he finally got